you get to see. OC spray has been deployed.
Go away.
Don't touch the mic. You're meant to speak. You're meant to be speaking truth to power. Are you here just to take your marching orders? Is that what you're here for?
Do you want to go away?
Not really. I'm here to do what you should be doing.
Yeah? Please take this out of my mouth. I'm going to have you escorted off to security.
All right. Do that.
Prime Minister, are you worried to take questions because you saw what happened to Jacinta Allan? Are you scared of answering the tough questions? Yesterday was the first time you didn't conflate anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. Is that because you recognise that a lot of the hate is from the Muslim community?
Who come and approach? Who come and approach?
Mate,
I'm gonna fucking get you.
You're gonna what?
I'm gonna fucking get
What are you
you.
gonna do?
Leave.
What are you gonna do?
Leave.
What are you gonna do?
Leave.
What are you gonna
Leave.
do?
Hey, don't touch it. You came my way. You fuck off. You understand? You came my way.
Stay out of the camera, wait.
What now? Can I show you? You want me to show you?
Right, one of the main interests in the debate, the Israeli police always make sure that only Muslims go. Jews and Christians are not allowed to go through here. They're limited where infidels...
No Jews beyond these steps, pretty much.
No.
The only way Jews are allowed on nowadays, it's fairly new.
One place. You were arrested once upon a time because the police would say you're upsetting the Muslims and they'd get too angry, then there'd be violence, there'd be war.
I don't know, but this guy's going to get punched out.
I just got threatened by the head of news and programming of CNBC. Are you serious?
That's him there.
Why do you think you deserve so much power? Hey, Avi Yemeni, should I be scared now? Don't push me, bro. What? What are you getting violent for, man? I could push just like you can, man. Look at these thugs. They fund wars around the world and then you question them. They try not only to intimidate you, but physically assault you.
And these are the activists that lost control of the situation today. This is Antifa, the socialists, the Marxists.
Pro-Palestinian supporters are coming to the Jewish community and instigating what can only be termed as a violent demonstration.
But you're at a synagogue. Why did you come to a synagogue if it's not about Jews?
You find Palestine war criminals in there.
How would you feel if Jews went to a mosque?
Shame on you. Shame on you for conflating the two.
Why are you talking about anti-Semitism when you're not Jewish?
Because I've been impacted by anti-Semitism.
Are you a Jew?
No, people think I am, and I've been called a fucking Jew and had someone threatened to kick my ass because they thought I was Jewish, so it's impacted me as well. We are not anti-Semitic.
Are you listening to yourself?
Yes.
Jacinta, we understand it's easier to run away, but what would you say to the Jewish community for them to believe that you could keep them safe since you failed them for a year and a half? Look at that. Look at, what are you doing? Why are you blocking my way, mate? Jacinta, why are you running away from the tough question? Why are you running away? Like a coward. No Jew can believe you're going to keep him safe. You came for a photo op. Does it look like how you expected it to look? Is it bigger, smaller?
It's smaller.
Yeah.
Man, I don't need that.
You're not going to wear it?
Nah.
Wow. How are you going to do your photo at the wall? You have to wear one at the wall.
You have to?
Yeah.
All right.
You're going to look weird. People are going to look at you. We just need to get that photo.
All right, let's go pay our respects.
Can you tell us why you're still wearing a mask? Is that for COVID or to like protect your identity? Touch my... Look at her. So she's the victim now. She's the victim. Look at the victim. When have I ever been caught with Nazis?
To go up there when Posey Parker was here. I saw you with my own eyes.
With Nazis?
Yes, with Nazis.
Me?
Yes, Michael Coulston and all his mates.
You know I wasn't there on that day.
You were there. I saw you. I was there myself.
You're also somebody that can't define what a woman is. I'm not sure we'll take your witness testimony as the strongest here, but
Here's the thing. It shouldn't matter what my definition of a woman is.
to women it
shouldn't be
matters.
up to one person to define to others what they should do. Yeah?
Biology should, though. Are you not ashamed of what you've done in the last couple of years? If any other product in the world doesn't work as promised, you get a refund. Should you not refund to countries that laid out billions for your vaccine?
The Lord is my shepherd.
Come from this side.
I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still water. He restores my soul and leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely, goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
Are you going to apologise for getting everything wrong, from mask mandates to vaccine mandates? Dr. Tedros, this is your chance to apologise to the world for your role during COVID. Would you like to take it?
Oh,
But
and you too, Ruxan.
why are you picking on Ruxan? He's a person of colour. He's a protected species.
These are not real journalists. These are cooked podcasters.
This is not a real it's a cooked
Older people like you guys, you can't grasp the idea.
Excuse me, I'm quite young.
All right, buddy.
I identify as 19.
Why is it harmful that people want to, identify as another gender? How does that harm you?
How does it harm you that I want to identify as 19?
It doesn't harm me.
Okay, so then why don't you accept it?
I didn't say I didn't accept it.
Do you accept that I'm 19?
If you want to say that, it doesn't f***ing matter. It doesn't affect me.
Will you take back your statement where you said that I was an old man?
What?
I am home. I am home. I am home. I am home. I'm with my people here. I'm with my Australians. What do you want to do, man? I'm home. I'm home. I'm Australian. I'm home. I'm Australian. One of us, I'm Australian. One of us. Look at you guys. Look at you guys. I'm Australian. Cowards.
Why is the Prime Minister such a coward? Does he pay you to protect his cowardice? They say regaining trust is the theme this year. Are you part of the reason why they've lost trust in the WEF and everybody finally knows who you are and what you stand for? Thank you, Dr. Tedros, for showing us how transparent you and the World Economic Forum. Many of the arguments that are made against Israel can be made about Australia. Do you agree? Are you on stolen land?
Oh, we are on stolen land, undoubtedly.
And did we colonise?
We did, undoubtedly.
So now, if an Aboriginal terrorist group committed the same atrocities, would you agree?
No, which one? I better stop, Albi.
If you refuse to move on, you'll be committing an offence. You'll get arrested for that offence.
Right, what's the offence?
Okay. Failure to move on.
Right, under which act?
Under which act?
Yeah.
Mate.
He was already arrested. He was already arrested.
Was that you? All right, mate. You're under arrest. Failure to move on.
Snitches get stitches. James, just so you know, that arrest is more real than the genocide. Do you guys cause trouble or not?
Sometimes.
Sometimes what kind of trouble?
Breaking in there.
Really? Is that fun?
No.
Do you get in trouble for it?
Yeah.
They're throwing rocks at us. Yeah, all good.
All good.
So there we are. Early on, they're throwing rocks at us already. These are kids out late. Police are barely doing anything. Why do you need a negotiation? Can't Hamas just release the hostages?
Hamas said yes. When Hamas said yes to the negotiation, Netanyahu said no. Hamas said yes.
Do you believe Hamas?
Of course I believe Hamas. I don't.
Do you believe Hamas?
I believe Hamas more than I believe Netanyahu. Yes, you can quote me. I believe Hamas more than I believe my Prime Minister. Yes, no doubt.
That is wild. All right, guys. I just think it's amazing, though, that you're in Tel Aviv and you're able to do that. And that's what I love about Israel. I think it's a real robust democracy.
Yep.
Go, 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 go.
Welcome back to the Opposition Podcast. How you doing, mate? It's been a minute. I'm not hearing you. I think your mic's cut on us. We're not hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Well,
There you go.
That's a great start, though. It's a great start.
Welcome. I was saying, welcome back to you because you've been globetrotting around everywhere else. You've left us lowly people here in Australia, and you've gone for the good life in Israel. So I don't know why you just don't stay back there, and why did you come back?
A lot of people would agree with you. A lot of people would want that. There's a lot of people in my comments telling me to stay there. I've got to say, Israel, I do enjoy Israel. A lot of the stresses that I have here, I don't tend to have there. I don't have to worry about my security and my safety. Mind you, in the middle of a war zone, it's super safe for me to be at. And one of the things, actually, I noticed this visit more than ever, and I don't know if we talked about it at some point in one of the reports, but I was telling Tommy is that I actually find the Arabs in Israel, even those that identify as Palestinian or whatever, so from the 2 million, there's a percentage of them that, embrace their Israeli identity, and then there's a percentage of them who identify as Palestinian, but as you see in Tommy's reports, even those that identify as Palestinian, most of them don't want to move under Palestinian rule. They want to stay under Israeli rule. It's just an identity thing, which I get it. It's complex. But I find they're way less hectic and intense and I guess dangerous as the ones here. And we were kind of unpacking it, and I think it has to do, I think I've talked about it with you maybe as well in the past, but I think it has to do with the fact that Arabs here, and probably the Islamic community in general, the younger generation never lived there, never grew up there. They're living through the stories of their family, and then obviously what they're seeing on social media and the tribe that they subscribe to, and so they become way more intense. There, I can walk around Arab villages and talking to people and almost having the controversial conversations with Tommy, going and having those controversial conversations straight to their face, and it doesn't trigger them in the way that it triggers Arabs here. They will actually tell you straight to your face. They'll look at you funny when you use some of the buzzwords and the hype words and genocide and apartheid. It just is different there. So yeah, on a personal level, to a large degree in the current climate, it's much more relaxed for me to be even in the middle of a war zone, even within the Arab parts of Israel, than it is here. But we're not giving up our fight just yet. How have you been, though?
Yeah, I've been good. I actually, I wouldn't say jealous. I did enjoy my time in Australia. It would have been nice to spend a bit more time in Israel.
We're jealous.
Come with you and Tommy and all the whatever else you guys were doing, and come see a bit of that, because I didn't get to see some of the things that you guys ended up doing later on. So that was really interesting to watch that back from here. But otherwise, Australia, I would also say that it's probably safer for me in Israel when you compare walking down the streets of Melbourne. You can get jumped with a machete.
That's
You
true.
can get your house robbed, and the police can't do much. So there is a bit of truth to that, Avi. I do agree with you in that respect. But always, we are here fighting for Australia, and I believe, we are truly the Australia first opposition here on this podcast. But I do want to, in this episode, Avi, just to chat with you about some of your experiences in Israel. Obviously, there's been a bit of news as well, so we don't have to delve too deep into it because there's so many live streams that you've done while you're there, and maybe people have a
we
bit of
actually
fatigue.
didn't do many live streams. We did a lot of reports.
Not live streams, sorry, a lot of videos that you guys released while you were there.
And
So-
what's his name? Tommy did a lot of reports, guys. Everything that we did in Israel, including I've just today published a page solely devoted to the reports that Tommy himself did, and his team was real quick in pumping them out. And there's a page on tommyandisrael.com that actually also gives you those ones that we didn't kind of do a double report on. So there's a heap of content there, but yeah, Look, let's start the podcast with some of the, what is it? What do we usually start? What's it called? Housekeeping?
House rules. House rules. Housekeeping. Hate.
Yeah, I'm forgetting English. I've been away for that much. You know what? It's funny because we went to obviously London for the 13th. Yeah, 13th
Yes.
of last month. We were gone for 3 weeks. You know, we did London and then we did Israel, and it turned out that was 3 weeks. I came home for 2 weeks, and Tommy tells me he's going to Israel, and I'm like, I got to be there for this historic bloody event of Tommy. And so I've jumped back on that plane, and I can't believe it. Like, I hate being in a plane, and I, counter to the rumors online, we don't get $7,000 per post. In fact, standing for Israel these days is quite costly. Hence why so many conservative online influencers day by day keep jumping ship. Trust me, it's a lot. And even if they show you emails of people that have offered their money, dude, show me when you get paid. Show me someone who gets paid. There are people that support my work as well. There are people that appreciate my work. But I guarantee you, if I jump ship, my Patreon, like many of those who are propagating this bullshit, I'm sure their Patreons are getting fatter the moment they turn on Israel. So it is certainly not. So I don't know why I went into that whole rant. I think it's just been bugging me looking at it. I've come back to it. I've seen more of these clowns have jumped ship. But hey, that's why I got into it, because I hate bloody flying, because I'm flying economy, and that shit sucks. Like, every once in a while, I either manage to, we talked about it last time, scam my way into extra legroom, or I have to pay for it. But we did it.
Did you get extra legroom this time?
I did, but for one flight I had to pay. And it was worth it. Having said that, I think that this trip, it was completely different than what we experienced, and it was insane to kind of travel the country with Tommy Robinson you got to remember, Tommy Robinson a few years ago, if he would have gone to Israel, it probably would have been shunned. There would have been almost broad condemnation, which would have come top down from Jewish organizations overseas, Zionist organizations overseas, which again worked super hard to demonize him prior to him arriving in Israel. But it just didn't cut through, because I think it was clear on the ground that Israelis appreciated the support and were not buying the nonsense, the smearing, the hatred that for years has stuck.
It's almost the same as when Tommy's in the UK, because the media smear him and the papers smear him. When you see him out in the public with the people, it's a totally different story. And I think Tel Aviv, and we saw him in Jerusalem, surrounded by people coming up to him for photos and autographs or whatever they were doing. That is not usual, guys. That is beyond ordinary when you see that with a particular individual, especially someone that's demonized in the media. So in the real world, it was very evident for us watching from back home that, Tommy, for most of Israel, when he's out there with the public, he's loved.
Yep. There was one person in that whole 2 weeks that I was there with him on the ground. There was one person, and funnily enough, it was on the first day, in the first 10 minutes when we walked out. So I thought, oh, here we go. Like, I thought we were going to get a mix kind of reaction. There was one person who wasn't even Israeli. He was like Canadian or something. I'm just trying to remember. Oh, and there was obviously the agitator. There was two agitators that came to his event. Both of them are quite famous, far left-wing communist kind of. Well, one of them I think is a communist. The other one's just a far left-wing activist. But there was only one person on the street that walked past, like, had a bit of a go at him, and then I kind of, I kind of confronted. Well, I kind of went to challenge the views, and it was funny because as soon as I went straight for the person, and go, okay, what is it that he said that's racist? They're like, oh, he's a convicted criminal. It was just like the same smears, but it was not an Israeli. It was somebody from Canada or something like that. Some leftist Jew who sadly still hasn't woken up to the fact that, you know, playing this, what is it? It's this smearing game or yeah, it's like the demonizing game of anyone that you don't think is the tolerant, blah, blah, whatever it is. Like it's this little thing that they do. But it's weird to me that there is still any, like on one hand, it's weird to me to see the entire Jewish community shift to accepting and realizing that Tommy Robinson is actually a legitimate ally who has never betrayed us and is actually often standing between the Jewish community and, you know, the Islamists and the leftists that will easily take him out. And Tommy has an army in the middle of it. We saw it on the 13th in London. There's an army there. 99% of people there were supportive of Jews, supportive of Israel. And they, you know, they were telling us as we walked through the crowd, but they are led by Tommy. And I would say that if Tommy wasn't there, if Tommy guided them the other way, maybe 50% of them would go with him. So he literally leads people. He stands in between the haters, actually from the Islamists, the leftists, and the Nazi right. And so on one hand, it's like interesting to see, like it's shocking, it's surprising to me just because it's a new experience seeing it, you know, in Israel play out like that. But on the other hand, it's like also shocking to me that there are any Jews left that don't see him as and there are, it's the establishment Jewish community, especially in England and probably here too, but obviously Tommy's not here, so they've stayed quiet, but it's the English, it's the British, you know, gatekeepers of the Jewish community who don't actually represent most of the Jewish community. And we saw that, and a lot of Brits on the streets in Jerusalem were saying those organizations, they're liberal organizations that play this game, that try to create these interfaith things, and they're more worried about their relationship with Islamic organizations that put out statements against them, that hate them, that throw them under the bus, that would celebrate like they did after Hamas murdered and butchered their brothers and sisters in Israel on October 7th. But they're more interested in demonizing Tommy Robinson and those that sadly follow them from within the Jewish community. I think it's a group that's kind of shrinking by the day. Hence, there was only one when I was there. But it was, I think it was a super successful trip. And I think the amount of reports and content, and a lot of this is like, you know, because people go on these trips and Israel's trying to show, I know people are portraying these trips as something that they're not, but essentially what they are is private organizations. Tommy's a bit different because he signed up or he got invited on one of these trips, and they're basically private Jewish donors, nothing to do with the state, that are saying especially to influencers, people with followings, going, guys, you're hearing so much about Israel. Why don't you come and see it? And guess what? Like most people that have followings don't want to pay to go to Israel. There's been so much hate spread about Israel. It's probably the last place on the planet right now they want to go to. And they go, you know what? We're not going to pay you to come, but we will cover your expenses to go there. And that's these kind of tours. And we will set up like tours where you're free to say whatever you want. You're free to talk to whoever you want. We'll take you to Palestinian areas. We'll take you to Israeli areas. You chat, you see with your own eyes, and you can actually publish whatever you want. Literally, you can publish whatever you want. And, you know, obviously there are influencers here that sit down and, you know, portray that as something it isn't, as if like the Israeli government's organizing propaganda tours. It's like, you know who actually does propaganda tours? Ukraine, China, you know, I think Indonesia, even like so many countries do that where the government pays journalists.
Well, there's a lot of lobby groups and lobbyists that do this kind of thing, right? Especially with politicians. I think a lot of people raise their eyebrows when politicians are taken on particular tours. Not so much influence. I guess on the online space is a bit of an argument, and you know, whenever we post something, people are like, "Oh, $7,000," and you see that a lot now, just to delegitimize people having opinions, because apparently any opinion you have is paid for, because you can't say anything good about Israel because, you know, there's a whole side that's just like everything is just negative, which is, guys, come on, think about the reality of the world. That's not how this works. So at the same time, I understand
I wish I would. I'm telling you right now, if somebody offered me $7,000 a day to
per post
support, per post to support Israel, I don't even think I would double my posts because I would be happy with the pay.
I get it. But my point was with the politicians, like I kind of understand why people are a bit iffy about that. But the way that I've looked at this now today is, you know, I look at Australia and I see that, you know, with I think since 2023, since October 7th, we've given about $150 million of Australian taxpayer money to organizations in Gaza and Palestine. No money to Israel, but the government in Australia has pledged that money to different organizations who are involved in Gaza. Now, some of these organizations, like UNRWA and so on, have links to Hamas. So is the taxpayer money from Australians going to Hamas? Now, if politicians are making these decisions and they have no idea about what's happening on the ground, I would rather Australian politicians have the opportunity. Either they pay their own way and go see where we're sending our money to, or the taxpayer pays it, or if there's these options available, maybe they avail themselves of that and it's publicly publicized that they're doing these things, because I would rather them know where that money from Australians is going to than sitting blindly in Australia and sending millions and millions of Australian taxpayer dollars to terrorists. Like it's, I would rather our politicians are making informed decisions. And I know it's a bit of a, you know, I get both sides of the argument, but I think there is something to be said about, especially on this particular conflict, because there is so much misinformation and disinformation. And if the people that are making the decisions are not fully informed by meeting people from, whether it's from the Palestinian Authority or whether it's from the Israel government, whether it's NGOs in that country, whatever, I don't care. If they're sending millions and millions of Australian dollars to those countries, they should know what the hell and where the hell that money is going to. So, and how they educate themselves.
Do you have a new dog?
Huh?
Do you have a new dog?
Oh, the dog's barking outside, yeah.
Did you get a new dog? Or are you babysitting?
No. We're babysitting a dog. He's not happy. Charlie,
mate, I'm going to have to ask you to settle down. Let's read some of the super chats. So, guys, just again, we started getting into the housekeeping. Basically, below us are the chat. From below me is my YouTube. From below Rukshan is his YouTube, and we will read out all super chats. And I want to thank you in advance for supporting our show. Your super chats is what helps pay the bills. So, without further ado, let's get into the super chat. Anthony,
mate, he's always out there, and he's always blaming Trump. It's a classic comment, Anthony. Great to see you here again tonight. And yes, everything can be traced back to Trump. Orange man bad.
Orange man is shocking. Aquiti just gave it super chat. Thank you for your support. And good to see you back in our chat. Baz the Dark Horse. First super chat. No, mate. Sorry. But still very appreciated. Thanks for the super chat. Ernestine Gray says, hi, any chance of getting Mossab to come to Oz? Yeah, I did meet him on the last night. Yeah, we could probably get him to Oz, I guess.
I mean, it'd be interesting to have the son of Hamas speaking to the Melbourne University leftists.
Listen,
that would be a good reality check for them.
I'm willing to take a bet right now. Unless he goes back and joins Hamas, he ain't getting a visa to Australia. But yeah, it's a good idea. Thanks for the super chat. BC says, great to see you back, Avi. You missed the 19th of October March for Australia. Highlight was Antifa getting pushed back by Victoria Police Riot Squad on the day. I saw it was pretty hectic, eh?
That was pretty hectic. That was Victoria Police. Obviously, we had the sergeant or whatever come up later on with the rocks during the press conference and really just lay it on the lefties and put them in their place for that particular protest. But yeah, I think that demonstrated something to me. I know we're going off topic, but just based on the super chat,
Super
that
chats
demonstrated something to
drive
me
our
because when we didn't have the the far right neo-Nazi type element there fighting with this group, then the lefties make themselves look like idiots.
Yeah.
They can't help their violence. They turn on the police because they're not getting their way. They're not getting those fights that they wanted to get. And at the end of all of that, what did the police say? They said the March for Australia group was well behaved, followed all the rules, and normal everyday Australians didn't look like the violent bunch that day. They looked like good patriotic people that were following the rules and doing the right thing and being peaceful at a protest. Whereas the lefties look like deranged lunatics that they are normally. But it was really just good to see that difference being portrayed rather than giving the media that story or the soundbite saying that the Nazis are there, and that's because that's what the media would have covered.
Yeah,
100%.
I want to say I did see some of the footage coming out that day, and I got major FOMO that I wasn't there, and I missed my 40th birthday, and I missed that. I had to cancel my 40th party.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I still think it was worth it. Thanks for the super chat, BC. And then we've got Lewis says, Avi, great to have you back. It was great seeing you with Tommy in Israel. Also, why are Muslims only allowed to enter the religious building? Debunks the apartheid theory, doesn't it? Laugh out loud. Yeah, it is interesting, to be honest. There's nowhere Muslims can't go in Israel. There's only places Jews can't go.
Yeah.
Again,
I saw that firsthand.
There's no places Muslims can't go in Israel. There are only places Jews can't go. And, as we found out there, it's got nothing to do with a religious reason. You can go to pretty much any mosque in the world except for Mecca. Or maybe there's another mosque or two that you can't, but it is as the guy from the what's it called?
Dome of the Rock, was it?
But the religious police from the Jordanian is
the WAC, was it the WAC?
The Waqf, yeah.
Waqf, yeah.
As I said, it's politics, and it certainly debunks. Look, I think going to Israel debunks the whole apartheid thing. Like, just go and watch any of Tommy's videos. Actually, one of the most interesting ones to me was, and I know Tommy says it was probably his most interesting one, was almost one of his first reports where he went to South Tel Aviv and there was the migrant crisis happening there. And it was interesting because I didn't know which direction. Well, I thought it was pretty funny that the guys that were there, because that was just like a group of guys go, oh, come check this out to Tommy. And I thought, you're taking Tommy Robinson straight to a African migrant area, in Israel. I'm like, what story, how's he gonna, how's the framing of this? How are you gonna, what's this story? And isn't it, aren't you playing right into the hands of those that call him a racist, that he had to go out of his way and look for this African migrant community in Israel, which nobody, did you know about it before? 99% of the people that watched his videos wouldn't have known about that migrant crisis in Tel Aviv, which, by the way, they've patched up because they built a fence. But it was amazing to watch him in real time and his brain go, hey, hold on. Aren't we told by all the ethno-nationalists? Aren't we told by the neo-Nazis? Aren't we told by every Jew hater from the right that this whole migrant crisis, the whole open borders problem we have here in the West is because Israel and the Jews are sending them to us?
Yep.
They're the ones that are pushing open borders on the West, and they have closed borders in Israel. And when you're actually there, you go, holy crap, they had the same bloody problem, and what it took to actually deal with the problem. So they still obviously have the issue in that area of, these illegal migrants that arrived there, and, over, 15, 20 years ago, and then up until there's a bunch there up to 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
But until you had a right-wing government that was willing to close the border properly, they were coming in, just like it is here. And he was saying, his point was, well, who are you blaming for it happening exactly here in Israel? Because it wasn't a Jew, a Jew conspiracy. It's just a left wing versus right wing thing. And in Israel, they realized the problem, the right wing government, and they stopped a bit like America. Like Trump, it was like, we have this open border problem. Let's close the border and let's deal with this illegal migration. So I found that fascinating. But yeah, that again, the super chats kind of drive our conversations. Adrian says, Avi, what do you think about St. Vincent's Hospital prioritizing Indigenous patients over anyone else? I think it's disgusting and a way to virtue signal. Well, because you're a super chat, you get to, thanks for the super chat, by the way, Adrian, you get to kind of guide a conversation. It's one of the issues we were going to bring up tonight, so we might as well just watch this quick report now, and we'll circle back to the other things. So let's listen.
Accused of dividing Victorians on race, the Premier is firing back in kind.
Let's stop this politics of division.
At St Vincent's Hospital, First Nations patients are getting fast-tracked ahead of other sick Victorians.
Triaging of patients should be based on health and medical needs, not based on the colour of your skin or race.
Indigenous patients presenting with Category 4 symptoms like a minor head injury or moderate pain are being bumped up to Category 3, reserved for patients with conditions like persistent vomiting, moderate blood loss or dehydration, meaning they're seen half an hour faster.
First Peoples aren't being treated as quickly as they need to be.
The hospital can't explain why. One public health insider has told 7 News First Nations patients can often play down their symptoms, meaning the triage category they're assigned doesn't reflect the seriousness of their condition. The change was made in April, and St Vincent says it's now bridged the gap in wait times and insists it's had no impact on access to the ED.
All Victorians know that our health system is under enormous pressure, and all Victorians should be able to access our healthcare equally.
Jacqueline Stanley, 7.
What complete racist gaslighting on top of it. First, it's a racist policy. It's complete nonsense. And not only is it racist to begin with, to divide people based on race, but then to go, it's because the Aboriginal people, or people identifying as Aboriginal, often minimise their pain. What? What are you talking about?
It's just all over the shop. And it is literally almost textbook definition of racial apartheid or racism. And what's fascinating is, Avi, this is actual apartheid. If you look at it, I know people think I'm exaggerating, but even in Israel, guys, Arabs, Israelis, Jews, whatever, I'm bringing it back to that, at a hospital would be treated equally. It wouldn't be like the system that we have here in Australia. So we are building these racial systems into our healthcare system, and it's been openly practiced. I was just tweeting about this earlier, and I was saying we have a racial discrimination commissioner on 400k salary, running around looking for racism in places it doesn't exist. While we also have politicians like Jacinta Allan, the Victorian Premier, promoting and almost saying it's okay. This is how it is. This is how it's going to be. Don't look at those things. We are going to do this, and you better get used to it. And there's more of this coming as well with this treaty, Avi. So this is just the first step. We're going to see this entrenched into almost every government institution across the board. Where, we already have that in certain respects when it comes to Aboriginal and Indigenous people, but we're going to see them being prioritized. We're going to see them that difference being really pushed into our faces. That there is a divide in Australia now. That there is actual racism, segregation between different types of Australians. And it's the government, the Labor government, the left, that are promoting these sick practices and making it normal. And the point that you raised, it's almost like saying, oh, well, these Aboriginal people, they're too dumb to even know that they're sick. You know what I mean? They're double victimizing them. So that we're helping them because they're stupid is literally what they're saying.
Yeah, what do they call it? The racism of low expectations. You just don't think they're capable of articulating their pain. It's just so ridiculous. It makes no sense, and it is blatant racism. The whole thing.
Yeah, and once you institute this, right, going forward, which victim group ends up getting the next priority? Which minority? Is it like refugees because they can't speak English properly, they don't understand, so we want to push them up the queue? Like, how does this all work?
All I
You
know
know?
is straight white males are at the bottom of the queue, and too bad if you get a heart attack, you should have checked your privilege earlier.
Well, that's the thing. You don't know now when you walk into the emergency department in a hospital if the reason that you're still sitting on that chair and waiting is because of your skin color. And that is the problem when it comes to these type of systems, because just naturally causes division within the community. Like, a lot of people are upset about this, and it's not just people like us commentators that are talking about this, Avi. People, medical professionals, people who have been on these boards before have come out and said that this is very unethical.
It's insane. It's DEI in such a dangerous way, because if you think about it, forget the racism part of it. You're saying you're not taking each patient as they come in the door as per their urgency. You're basing it on race. So that means somebody with a more critical condition has to be being pushed down to fit this person who may not need. So you may have somebody with a life and death situation, or it wasn't going to be life and death, but because somebody with a much less severe condition was pushed on top of them, it's turned their position, it's turned their situation critical, because you're putting people ahead of them only based on race, not medical. It is DEI in the medical industry. It's not putting the best person, like DEI in the workforce is not putting the best person on the job. You're quota filling for race or gender, whatever it is. Here, you're quota filling somebody in an emergency, which just puts other people at risk. And I think DEI in the workforce can also be dangerous. So when you're looking at certain industries where you want the most capable person, whether it's police, emergency services, pilots, whatever, there's a million jobs where you want the most capable person to be doing it and don't want it based on race. So that is in itself could be a risk to other people. But I think that this is even worse than that, because here you're literally taking sick patients whom we know, it is common sense that some people, if they're not seen within a certain amount of time, their situation turns from moderate to critical to deadly. In a matter, that 30 minutes difference could be the difference between whether they survive their sickness or not.
Yeah, and right now it's for like lower tier situations. That's what they're saying. Like, it's not critical.
That's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying. But these things have a way of creeping up to the very top. You know what I mean? So,
but also,
and if you accept it here, if you accept it now, Avi, if you accept it at this level, that means it just becomes the norm. And that's
but I also reject that, because in the medical industry, in a hospital, there are a lot of people. They go from, or some patients go from, non-serious injury or sickness, but if they're not treated in time, they go to critical. So I guarantee you, if this is implemented, I don't know what but it's when you say Indigenous, you're saying people that identify as Indigenous, and like, I've seen a lot of these Aboriginal people, and I'm probably
they're whiter than most Europeans. Some of them,
exactly. So anyone that identifies as Indigenous, they could be pushing people onto a longer waiting list. And I guarantee you, if that happens enough, there are going to be people, normal, regular, tax-paying Aussies, that are going to end up in critical conditions because they were pushed onto this extremely long waiting list, because they were pushed down the victim list and urgency list based on their skin color, and suddenly what was just something that should have been minor and sorted out quite quickly is going to turn critical and potentially deadly. I guarantee it. That's just that happens. Like, when you hear of people that were sick and then the whole problem was that they had something minor that could be treated if it was treated in time, but then because they waited too long, it turned deadly. And so why wouldn't that happen in the waiting room? People are already waiting now crazy times.
Yeah.
That's, and I think that was the point that the opposition was trying to make, whether you believe it's just political point scoring or not. It's a valid point that people right now, every Victorian is right now having to deal with with our hospital system, our emergency services under the pump, and any hospital wait is already enormous. Now pushing people beyond that is only putting people at risk.
Yeah.
No,
and it obviously, I was going to say, it just shatters the whole diversity, multiculturalism. We're all the equal, we're all the same nonsense that they push, because when they need to, they will definitely differentiate us based on our race, and they'll tell you that it's okay. We have
racism in the name of anti-racism, isn't it funny? Noah says, Avi, do you see any similarities between the BLM movement and the pro-Hamas movement? I personally think that they're organised by the same people. Thanks for the super chat, Noah. And yeah, look, in the West especially, I think a lot of the pro-Palestinian activists are the same activists from BLM. They're the same activists for climate change. They're the same activists for everything. The difference here, I think you also have activated a large part of the Islamic community, and especially the extremist Islamic community. I think there's a lot of the Islamic community at home that are, silently supporting, or online that are vocally supporting. But the protests on the streets, they may be, especially today, are probably from the more extreme parts of it. But you're right. I think that it is the same activists in an unholy alliance with the Islamists.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with that, and you can kind of see they're a bit, they're looking for another. They're looking for another fight right now. Those far lefties.
Yeah,
which
and I recognize all, and you would recognize a lot of those lefties that have been marching for the pro-Palestinians, wrapped in kafirs for the last couple of years. Well, I've known a lot of those people. I recognize not the younger ones. Obviously, they were little, but prior to COVID, they were fighting for climate change. The world, I don't even know what they're complaining about. The world existed longer than they said it would now, so they should be celebrating. But instead, they're finding another cause to complain about. Catherine says, thanks for showing how admired Tommy is. Do I get 7K? Catherine, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Your $2 is the most that anyone's getting paid for that post. And it was me, not you. Catherine added, can your self-ID as a First Nation person, that is a good point. Like, when you go into the hospital so you can skip the line, I don't think they can check anything. So I think it is self-ID. So really what stops anyone? In fact...
Really, someone should go there and do it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try it.
And film it.
I think we should try it. I think, it's a good challenge. Anybody out there that's watching this, go to St. Vincent's, secretly record it in the public areas, and tell us. I think it is legal. You obviously can't get anyone's private medical thing, but in a public area you can film. So just capture, and you don't have to identify the staff or whatever. We can help you with that. So send it to me, avi@rebelnews.com. Go in there, self-identify as Aboriginal, and let's see if you get to skip the line. Because that is a good question. I don't think they can legally ask you for any verification at the moment. So
if they think that Aboriginal people can't even know that they're sick, why would they carry ID with them? I mean, this is a whole argument that Democrats make about why you can't have voter ID because Black Americans will not have a driver's license. Like, it's the same racial nonsense that they play when they need to.
What does it say? Yoav says the sick global left convinced that you can't be racist if you are a minority. It is sick, it's backwards, and it's very racist. Yeah, but there's a limit on that for even the left, as long as only Jews can be racist. So every other minority cannot be racist. White people can't be racist. The only minority that can be racist are Jews, and I think it's quite fitting that you paid us in shekels for this super chat. Thank you, Yoav. Leslie, thank you for the super chat, says, This must be a
Emoji, sticker.
Emoji.
I wish
which-
they should build the feature in, guys,
I know.
to just bring up
Pear,
the
I like
emoji.
how they go all, the AI goes all to all the effort to describe it. Why doesn't it just show it? But what is it? It's a pear character flying in the air with a red cape.
with the
and a
red cape, smile on his face. We can imagine that.
Yeah, we imagine it. Thanks for the super chat, Leslie. What do we got? Henry says, Avi, why do you think there is so much more emphasis on our Aboriginal people compared to, say, the American Indians in the US? In America, I don't hear them say, always was, always will be American Indian land. I can't say I know. I'm too familiar with the.
There is a slight difference I've noticed, Avi. Just to jump in, if you're not sure.
Yeah.
I was going to say the American Indians are a bit more integrated into the American culture and society, for one. And a lot of them don't necessarily see themselves as this victim class, whereas they do their own things, and like there's this mentality in Australia that Aboriginals are just this permanent victim class. Not all of them. Obviously, we have very successful Aboriginals in Australia, athletes to business people to politicians, but there is this ongoing stigmatism that they're somehow just perpetual victims, and that only by acknowledging our role in some sort of genocide or giving the country back and giving the land back can it ever be solved, which is a myth. Sorry to cut you off, but
No, look, better that you answer it, because I don't particularly know. I don't feel that, there's obviously every 4th of July, there's not the argument of whether they should change the date to abolish America. But, you do see far leftists in America calling to abolish America as well. So I don't know if the Indian or any part of the Indian community is part of that. I don't even know if you're allowed to call them Indians anymore.
I think they go by their certain tribal names or whatever, the so and so peoples. Sorry, I'm not very familiar with the names. Navajo or whatever.
You just don't like that they took your Indian name.
Mate, Christopher Columbus. This Italian dude just landed in some place and just thought they were Indians. I mean, how racist is that, Christopher Columbus?
Is that how they got it? Is that how they got the name?
Well, I think he was going to India or something, and he ended up in America.
Is that how they got the name Indians?
Well, and he just said they're Indians, these Italian
American
navigators.
Indians.
Yeah, American. That's why they're American Indians, because they were going to India or looking for India, or thought they landed in India.
That's pretty funny.
Just
that's like
drunk,
me.
drunk Italian sailors.
That's like me when I see a Sri Lankan. Equity says, thank you for the super chat. The overwhelming no vote meant nothing in the end. Yeah, that's a good point. They're overriding that.
Yeah.
And I think the no vote just demonstrated how much Australia stands against this identity politics, against this racism. But yeah, it is creeping in. It's just, maybe it's not happening as quick and as blatantly as if, in the case that Australia would have voted yes, but it's happening.
Yeah, I mean, if they got the mandate from the yes vote, things would have moved rapidly in Australia. We're going to see that in Victoria, though, I reckon, man, in the next 2-3 years with this treaty, with this truth-telling and all this stuff that they've got involved in that, we're going to see a massive push in terms of land rights and things like this, where, Victorians are going to end up paying a lot more.
Yeah.
And there's nothing, almost, unless we get rid of Labor government, there's not much that's going to happen to change that.
Yeah. Beam me up, Scotty. Thank you for the super chat. Says, welcome back, lads. Videos from Israel were awesome. Tommy was great too. You may not agree, Avi, but chosen people, promised land, the end, the Bible in short. God bless Israel. When you say I might not agree, look, I think that it in the Old Testament as a book, it clearly states that. How you interpret that is up to, I guess, the reader. I definitely think that they're talking about the chosen, the promised land. They're definitely talking about that geographical area, although it's actually that greater Israel that they're talking about in the Bible. The chosen people, I know that that triggers a lot of people as to what it is. I can only feel like the Jews, I think the Jewish perspective on it is that we chose God's Bible or whatever to accept the Bible, but whatever. I feel like if you think God chose the Jews, it seems like he chose them to be persecuted through the ages and hated up until 2025. That's like I find it all bizarre when people want to convert to Judaism. I'm like, why do you want to sign up to the one minority that just seems to be so bloody hated? And in the end, yeah. But I think that when you say, do I believe in it? I think the way I look at the Bible, at least, put aside
the Tanakh.
Really,
Is it the Tanakh? Is it the Bible?
The Tanakh, well, the Old Testament, especially the 5 books of Moses, is that you can read it at least as a history book, which gives you, a history book that's agreed on by both the Christians and the Muslims, accept that it was so historically it gives you an idea of who was the indigenous people on the land. And I'll give you a little hint. In none of the books, not the Jewish, not the Christian New Testament, not even the Islamic Quran, not once does it say Palestinians. It doesn't call that land Palestine. There's the Philistines, but the Palestinians don't want to be called the Philistines. They'll never call themselves the Philistines, because Philistine literally means, I think it means
like invader or something.
Invaders, and they were from the Greek islands, so they never want to. They never want to be the Philistines. They'll sometimes claim that they're the Canaanites, which is funny. So because Palestine was made up. Palestine was a name that was given to that land actually by the Romans to mock the Jews, because the Philistines were their biggest enemies. Anyways, that's just historically. That's not a religious.
Now that we're on history, one thing I do see a lot of Christians even saying is that there is a chapter that's been hidden from Jews, that many Jews don't know this chapter, Isaiah 53. Have you ever read Isaiah 53?
Do Jews learn it, or is it one that Jews don't accept? I don't know. Is that in the New Testament or the Old Testament?
In the Tanakh.
In the Tanakh, Isaiah. Okay.
Some homework for you later on. Oh, you can bring up Isaiah 53. We can. I see that a lot. Isaiah 53, and I've actually seen videos of there's these guys online that are in Israel who are Christians, and they go around asking Jewish people about Isaiah 53, and they don't know it. So apparently they've hidden it from some scholars, some rabbis don't teach it, or it's not really.
How do you spell Isaiah? Isaiah in English,
S-A-I-A-H.
I don't want the summary, mate. Bible Gateway, but 50. Okay, Isaiah 53 is the 53rd chapter. Okay, are we going to trust Wikipedia on this? Okay, we will trust Wikipedia for this one. It says Isaiah 53 is the 53rd chapter of the book of Isaiah in the Hebrew Bible, or the Old Testament of the Christian Bible. That's why Jews don't accept it. It contains prophecies attributed to the prophet Isaiah and is one of the Nevi'im. Nevi'im, no. Chapter 40 to 55 are known as, how do you pronounce that? I've heard people pronounce that word. I don't know how to. I would know it in Hebrew if you give it to me.
Wait, let me actually look it up.
And dates to the time.
Can't believe you got into Wikipedia.
There's Grokpedia. Should I go to Grokpedia?
I'll just read Isaiah 53. We just got to read the verse, I think.
Oh, it's
Which is what
interesting
I see
because
there.
that is actually that is that
It's in the
does-
Tanakh.
Yeah, that does look like exactly how the Old Testament is written.
But I think they say it describes the coming of Jesus. That's why it's like rejected by some or hidden by some, because it reveals the coming of Jesus, and it describes how he died on the cross and he sacrificed himself and so on. I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting point with what you were discussing.
Do Jews accept? No,
You're really getting into this now.
Oh well, I'm wondering why I don't know it. Well, look, I'm no freaking rabbi, but I did go to like Hebrew school my whole childhood. But no, mainstream Judaism does not accept Isaiah 53 as a prophecy about a single suffering Messiah. Instead, the majority interpretation is that the suffering servant refers to the nation of Israel, while early Jewish figures did interpret it as a messianic. Later rabbis, including Rashi, who's one of the main Jewish scholars, I guess, identified the servant as Israel, a view that is now prevailing among modern Jewish scholars. However, Isaiah 53 is still present in the Jewish Bible and is not considered a forbidden chapter, although it is not read in the weekly Haftorah portion due to the lack of thematic connection to the week. Oh, so it's not from the 5 book of it's from Isaiah. That's what they have to. Look, I know all this stuff like from this vague living it as a kid. You know when you just so you every week you do the Torah portion. They read the Torah portion, and then after they read the Torah portion, they read the Haftorah, which must be like these prophecies from these books. But they're saying that they skip that one.
Yeah, that's what I've seen recently popping up. That this is more proof that they're they're hiding stuff from the world. They don't want to accept Christianity.
Yeah, well, Jews clearly don't accept Christianity. I don't know how that's controversial. That's like isn't that?
I know. I'm just saying this is the latest
religion?
one.
Debunking. Some Christian missionaries claim, especially online videos, that there is a conspiracy to hide the truth from you. They assert there is a chapter in the Tanakh, Jewish scriptures, that used to be read in synagogues, but later the rabbis decided to take it out of the Haftorah, weekly prophetic readings. See, like, I know what the Hebrew terminology is. Yeah, because that's, like, I read it for my bar mitzvah. You read your Torah. I didn't even read my Torah portion. I read my Haftorah, which, like, I remember by heart. It was like, Rani akara lo yalada pitzri rina v'tzali lo chala tirabim b'nei. That was my one. To avoid confusion, and today it is considered the forbidden chapter hidden from Jews. The chapter that missionaries say that rabbis do not want to read is Isaiah 53. Most Christians believe this chapter describes the Messiah Jesus dying for our sins. This easily debunked claim is a ploy to get people to read the forbidden chapter out of context and consequently accept Jesus. However, when read in context, Isaiah 53 is not talking about anyone dying for our sins. Isaiah describes the Jewish people who suffered from the violence perpetrated against them by nations of the world. Furthermore, concerning a conspiracy, the missionaries are either intentionally misleading people or are ignorant of the history of the public reading of the prophets. There are numerous problems with their conspiracy theory. One, and this is your conspiracy, Rukshan, they're talking to you. No rabbinic edicts exist in prophetic Jews. No rabbinic edicts exist that prohibit Jews from reading any portion of the Jewish Bible. On the contrary, the Jewish Bible, including the book of Isaiah, is accessible to anyone who wants to read it. Two, the weekly prophetic readings, as we know them, were instituted in the 2nd century BCE when the Greek king Antiochus forbade Jews from reading the Torah, the 5 books of Moses. Since Antiochus did not forbid reading from the prophets, the sages instituted the weekly public reading portion of the prophets that shared the theme corresponding to the outlawed Torah reading. In this way, the weekly Torah portion would not be forgotten. That's why I forgot it is. So when you read the Torah, you read from the actual 5 books of Moses, but then when it was banned, now I remember this, when it was banned to read the 5 books of Moses, they started reading the prophecies that was attributed to those books of Moses at the time. In a way, it's such a Jewish way of not losing the battle. They were like, we're still going to read. You technically didn't say we can't read the prophecies.
Yeah.
And the sages, so I think what they're saying there is the reason why it's not read is that was, I guess, not associated. So there was like some prophecies that were, and that's the ones that they read, and some were not connected to the Torah portion. Because I don't think you read all the prophecies. I'm assuming.
We got a deep dive into it. You gonna keep going?
Oh well, there's too much. Listen, you brought it up, but
look, I was just asking questions.
Don't ask questions if you don't. Listen, it was a good question. I had no idea about it, and now I found out that you are feeding the conspiracy theorists.
Let's keep going.
Baz the Dark Horse says, when I was taking my dad to hospital for his cancer treatment, every time we were asked if we identified as First Nations people. Look, I know that every time I've gone to hospital or doctors, when you fill out the form, they always ask that. But I don't think I didn't ever think it mattered. I didn't even know why they were asking it. I guess maybe it would have helped them with funding, some sort of funding. But until now, I've never known a situation to which it was actually giving the patient a priority. And that's the problem here.
Yeah.
I don't think they should be asking it anyways. Why are you asking? They shouldn't be getting it. Like, we should all be getting equal funding, equul service, equal everything. I believe in equal rights for all.
Yes. Shouldn't be controversial.
Thanks for the super chat. Baz Ethan says, Palestine doesn't exist and should never exist. Take that as a comment. It is true that Palestine as an autonomous state never existed.
No.
I swear to God, this bloody Siri thing keeps going. How do I bloody turn it on? Hey, Siri. Siri. Hey, Siri. Turn the radio off. I'm going to have to unplug this bastard. I keep turning it off and it keeps just going back on.
Maybe someone else is turning it on.
There's no one they use Google around this place. I don't know, mate. The Jews. Must be the Jews. Lewis says, Avi, I heard you say before that Ukraine does propaganda tours. Why the hell would they do propaganda tour considering they're at war with Russia? I think even Russia doesn't. I think even the Russian government doesn't. Like it's
not the same. It's not the same as what's because Israel is like you can move around more freely, obviously. Whereas you're talking about the war zone itself, or in Ukraine, like
Ukraine. No. Government. Ukraine. Look, I think in Ukraine they will take you to the war to show you the front line, or as close to it. That shows what the damage the war has caused. But all these countries, China does it for the Australian. You know how many Victorian government staff, media go on paid Chinese tours by the Chinese government? It happens every year, all the time. Nobody talks about it. They're talking about Israel because they just hate Israel, hate Jews, and it's not even the government. It's literally private funders that all they want is for people to experience it, because we keep saying, if you go, and they want people with platforms to experience it, because then if you go there and you see it, you will realize that social media and the media and everyone that's been talking about it either doesn't know what they're talking about or they're just plain lying to you. It's frustrating when you've been there so many times and you realize how many lies is being told. But you saw it with your own eyes yourself. All right, speaking of that, a topic that seems to be getting ignored at the moment for some odd reason is, this is from the Catholic Weekly, but it's not getting nearly as much attention as it needs to, is right now there is an actual ethnic cleansing, there is actual genocide happening across Africa, mainly in both Sudan and Nigeria. And I don't want to bring the videos up here because then they put it
You can't bring those videos up because they're just like horrible.
I will say to people, go on X and type Sudan and look at the videos in the last few days, or Nigeria. Right now, there is real genocide happening that are actually targeting Christians. And the most frustrating part to me is that the Christ is King mob that pretend to hate, they hate Israel, pretending to do it in the name of Christianity, are dead silent on actual Christian persecution, whether it's in Nigeria, whether it's in Sudan right now, whether it's in Syria. Why is it? Why is it? You're a Christian. Why are so many Christians neglecting this story?
Well, look, I don't think I see a lot of Christians talking about this. I think the people.
No, but they're not the ones that.
They're not those ones, of course. I know what you're saying. Yeah, the ones who are the commentators and the influencers and the hyper focused on Jews, for instance, really like bringing up about the humanity of things, have fallen silent. Obviously, the left are completely silent on this matter.
Yep.
And the videos that are coming out are barbaric, like just sick. And just to describe some of the videos, just because we can't watch them, men and women lying down on the ground, still alive, and they're filming and they're driving the cars over them. It's going back, driving sadistic. Over them again. They're still alive, and sadistic stuff. Women with children being hung, just hospitals being cleaned out by these Islamists. And it's been going on for a while in Nigeria. Obviously, they're doing something similar in Sudan right now as well. And it's just horrific, Avi. And like you said, even some prominent commentators like, Candace and so on, if they don't put the same type of effort they've put into the humanity of whatever was happening in Israel and Palestine, Gaza, nothing for this in that same spirit. It's just not there. And it just shows you that people really do not, everyone that's been jumping up and down about just how great they are as humans do not really actually care when people are going through suffering. No. They pick and choose.
Yeah, 100%.
And a lot of people say if it's not Jews, it's not in the news.
No Jews in the news. Yeah.
And I actually believe that now because I'm seeing it, from seeing all the propaganda we saw during a lot of the conflict that was happening in Israel to what we're seeing today, almost nothing. Like they just don't care about these Africans being killed and genocided by these Islamists. And I think the worst offender was even Al Jazeera, because I remember they put up an article saying that, hey, there's no genocide happening in Nigeria. Contrary to what people are saying online, it's not a genocide in Nigeria. And they were defending what was happening. So you can even see from those propaganda publications like Qatar and stuff, those countries, they don't look at what's happening in Africa right now as a genocide. For them, it's just something, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just so obvious. It's just so obvious. Yep. And it's just sad that we don't have, left-wing liberals marching down the streets of Melbourne here every week for these people in Nigeria.
And if you compare the numbers, they are vastly greater than anything that's even happened in Gaza. And it's insane. The silence is deafening. And I'd encourage people that are watching, like those of you that are tuned in, talk about it. Talk about it on X. Talk about it on your social media. Don't let them just divert the conversations to the one thing they want to talk about. Because when you watch that footage, it is so reminiscent of October 7. Like, the attacks are so similar. They're all the same. And actually, that brings me to, like, this super chat, Catherine, saying, what have the genocides got in common? The real genocides. And we all know, it is Islamic extremists. It is these jihadist organizations, whether it's Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, the Boko Haram, or all these African different jihadist groups. They are savages. And their tactics are horrific. They want to, you see when they're abusing their victims, it's they're laughing and they're mocking and they're all screaming Allahu Akbar and all this while they're doing it. And the thing is, the thing that I fear for Australia is that you don't realise if you invite that ideology here and you welcome it, then at some point it's gonna prevail, and you know that is the reality of it. If you look at the Middle East, for example, as it got Islamized and as it conquered, it became then obviously the radical elements. And you had your moderates and then your radical end up fighting and winning everything. That's how it works. And it should we need to look at, as an Australian issue, if you're Australia first, you need to look at these warning signs and go, hold on a second, are we importing that now? Because yes, at first it's fine, when you have small numbers of even these radicals, they try as much as possible to go unnoticed, and they try, they won't act up like this. But as soon as they have the numbers and the radicals from within these communities see that they have enough power, first it's politically, then it is violent, and their violence it's not a secret. The only reason why you're not seeing it as much as the other stuff is because the media is refusing to show it. Social media is not as excited by it because, when it's something like, for example, in contrast, Gaza, it's a numbers game. On Gaza, you've got 2 billion people that every little photo want to share it straight away. And that is the majority of the Islamic world want to share it. On this one, they don't want to talk about it. So you immediately wipe off that one. Then the example you gave, the left. The left don't want to share it because it doesn't suit their narrative. So they ignore it. The extreme right, I think some of them share it, but right now they're hyper focused on Israel. But they also don't like Muslims either. So they'll go, look at these barbarians, especially if they're Africans. They'll make it into an African thing. But really, it is a jihadi thing, and the warning that we should the thing that should be making people in Australia super concerned, if you don't want to get involved in other stuff, is just be really super careful about what we're bringing in here, because that might be a problem in the Middle East or in Africa or in even in Southeast Asia, in some parts of Southeast Asia. But that will be a problem here too if they become once they get their numbers.
Yeah, there is this kind of naivety amongst Westerners that think somehow they'll be able to stop, for some reason they'll be able to stop what's coming with this ideology, but it's not. It doesn't work that way. A lot of it, the only places that it's been stopped is by the sword, literally. India is a great example. This happened, a long time ago, hundreds, if not thousands of years ago, with these issues in India, and it was literally just stopped by just massive fighting. And the end result of all of that was really during the end of the British colonial time. You ended up with Pakistan and India, like a partition. Yeah. Same issues, same problems, historic issues, same type of colonial mindset, conquering mindset. And it doesn't matter how established your culture is. It doesn't matter how established Hinduism was. There was a very prevailing push by those Islamists back then to take over the whole country and to convert everyone. And you can only stop it by the sword back then when it gets to that level. And you're seeing again in Nigeria, Sudan, when it's possible for them to enact this type of violence, they will. Because it's their way or the highway, and usually it's by the sword. So I don't see how people believe that we're going to be able to control things. I'm not saying things are getting violent, but if you look at the UK right now, Avi, if you look at the UK right now, it doesn't have to be the type of violence we're talking about.
It will,
just a cultural shift. But just a cultural shift, just the way that people are uneasy and unsafe. We're talking about a civil war in the UK right now. People are talking in those terms because the government has been overrun, and they don't know how to push back against what's happened to that country.
And even the UK is still in the early stages of it. That's the thing. And they're already talking about civil war. At some point, it's like, it doesn't become, there's not a civil war. It's just a genocide and a massacre and a genocide. Convert or die. That's what ends up happening. And it happened all across the Middle East. The thing is, it just happened when there was no social media, and nobody was up speaking for them or fighting for them. They just had zero chance. Now it's happening in Africa. Nobody wants to talk for them. Nobody cares, or at least these groups that we're describing don't care. And, one day it essentially will happen to the West. It is just, and a lot of, like, when you talk to many, I think we have a few videos on Rebel where you're just talking to, like, even so-called moderate Muslims in the West, in Canada or in Australia, they'll tell you that one day these countries will be Islamic, because that is also the general ideology. They believe that the whole world is going to become Islamic, and it's got to become Islamic via conquest. At first it's stealth, and then it's when they have the power, especially the radicals, stand up and go, no, we've done the stealth thing till now. That's just like immigration and, taking government positions and all that, organizing like that, making large communities. And then once there's enough, there is always an element in the community that say, well, now is the time that we do the jihad part. And the jihad part means we do it by force. And I know it makes people feel uncomfortable. People are naive to the fact that is the reality. And what I would say,
I do see a couple of comments saying, "Well, what's the whole context of the war?" and things like this. You have to understand, yes, there can be political reasons for these conflicts. There can be reasons like a civil war happens, which is outside of religious reasons. But in those type of wars, you're seeing with the videos which are coming out, there is a religious element to the killing. There is a glorification of violence based on religious glorification. Like when they do those killings, what are they saying? And who are they killing? Like they're making those differentiations when they're making those killings. So it is very much, despite any other external political factors or reasons for these conflicts to be happening, at the heart of it, it is this hatred that drives people to this type of violence.
Yeah. Okay, let's smash through these and get on to the next story. My guy says the fact that Candace and Tucker are silent about Sudan shows that they don't really care about Christians. They only care about hating Israel and Jews. I keep making that point, and it's totally true. It is totally true. They are the fakest Christians I've ever met. And I know a lot of Christians, and I love my Christian brothers and sisters. I actually really like genuine Christians because I actually find them to be some of the nicest, genuinely nicest people on the planet, because they actually follow Jesus's teachings. Candace and Tucker are the fakest Christians ever. Yeah. Deal with it. I said it. Average Bugs second channel says, "Love you, bro." Are you talking to me or Rukshan? Either way, we take it.
We'll take it. Thanks, bro.
Thank you. Catherine says, "I'm in a group and hearing these victims' stories is heart-wrenching. Then I get told it's fake from anti-Semites. What's the Brick Nabel talk on Saturday, first, second Sunday? I'm not sure exactly what that is. Well, I guess we can look it up, or you can tell us. Thanks for super chat. Average Bug second channel says, "Bless you both." Much of that was before we even checked. Thanks for the clarification that it's both of us, not one of us. All right, let's pivot to something completely different. It's actually going back to the Israel trip, because prior to Tommy coming, I actually went a few days earlier, because when I saw he's coming, it was just as the peace deal was announced, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna jump on. I'm gonna jump on a plane, like literally the next night, because there was going to be the hostage release, and the deal was kind of all unfolding in real time. And I thought, if I'm already going for Tommy, I'm going to go early. And while I was there, we were doing heaps of live streams, although we had some dramas with reception when the crowds got big. But we did some cool stuff in live streams. And then I went to Hostage Square. It was actually, we started off doing a live stream, but the live got cut. So we filmed, and there was an ABC journalist that I went to confront there. It's an ABC journalist that I've seen time and time again completely either lie about the conflict or manipulate his story in a way. And in fact, after we watched this segment from Sky, because it was interesting what happened after I confronted him, where they've tried to bully Sky News, who dared to air my confronting of this reporter. But even today, this victim of my confronting him is up to the same game. So I'm going to show you his report from today to give you a taste. And it is his daily reporting on the conflict, which is completely bogus, fake news, and everything I said at that point was true. Anyways, this is Sky News. Let's watch this report from it's Chris Kenny.
As you know, on this program, I've been very clear to you about Hamas and other Islamist extremist organisations, what motivates them and how they operate. Now, this is crucial to understand because of the threat they pose to us, and in the case of Hamas, the atrocities they've committed against Israel and the war they deliberately started and then extended for 2 years. And while Hamas are the past masters at murder, rape and torture, the past masters in terrorising people with sickening crimes and using their own people as human shields, they're also masters of propaganda. And they've used every bit of trauma and every drop of blood over many years to feed lies to the Western media about Israel and its tactics and its soldiers. They've been so successful that they've had people marching in the streets of Western nations repeatedly, demonising Israel, with some repeating Hamas slogans like "River to the Sea," calling for the elimination of Israel, shouting about a genocide that never happened, a starvation policy that never happened, and war crimes that never happened. They've done this with the complicit support of the usual United Nations agencies and other NGOs, and they've done it while they've been killing Israeli civilians, firing rockets at Israeli civilians, and holding Israeli civilians as hostages, a blatant and daily war crime. Yet Western media have routinely reported their claims and their statistics as fact, and they've failed to be honest with audiences about how Hamas terrorises its own people, the people of Gaza. And nor have they been honest about how the only media coverage that gets out of Gaza is coverage that this Islamist terrorist organisation approves. Which is why it was important to share with you last month some blood-curdling footage of how Hamas operates, as well as some insight into how our own taxpayer-funded media censors the news that it shares with Australians. And a warning, these images...
Wait, hold on. I think I may be showing you the old one. I want to get you... No, I want to... Oh, yeah, that was the old one. Sorry. Because it's the follow-up to the story. My bad. Give me 2 seconds. I'll find it because it's... The story's pretty wild. Here we go. Actually, I know where it is.
First podcast back, guys.
Yes, this is what happens, mate.
Just getting used to the $7,000 per post. Gotten lazy.
Let's frustrating because I did set it up on the screen, and then, and actually there's a follow up to it that's really interesting that I haven't told anyone yet. But give me. Let's see if it. Damn, I just literally. Let me. Those super chats you can read while I find this. Bloody hell. You're laughing, but your mic's off. Oh, you're eating. Mate, you gotta get off the food. It's not good for you, mate. Let's see if I can just find it on there. The problem is if I look up ABC on Sky News, they talk so much about ABC that it might. Let's see.
These are salted pretzels, guys. I've muted my mic so as not to disturb you. We're all just watching Avi doing his thing.
It's so annoying.
It's been a few minutes. We'll give him some more time.
It's so frustrating because it's not in there. This. Oh, here we go. No, bloody hell. Oh, here we go. No, that's the same one. Where's... Oh. Let's see if I can do... Oh, it's so frustrating. Someone sent it to me, but he has these disappearing messages on, so I can't even check the messages for the actual... It was Chris Kenny's video from... I wish they just published their videos because they got so many videos. It's too hard.
Did you send it to me today?
No, I think I sent you that. If I sent you it, I sent you the wrong one.
ABC slammed for vilifying Israel.
See, it's that. It's for. All right, I'll just go off that bloody stupid report because it doesn't show you. It doesn't show you the report, but we'll just go with it. We'll just go with the report instead of his video because they haven't attached the video. I don't think this is the video of it. Let's see if their video is that one. Oh my god. Alright. Screw you, Sky News, and your bloody ads. Let's just get past the ad. Let me see if it's this one. But I don't think it is this video. Is that, like, the video that's attached to the story is not actually the Chris Kenny video, I don't think. And I want to show you that because it actually laid it out really well. It showed you the confronting of him to no, it's not this. Whoever did ABC Sky News' story is retarded. But sorry.
Let's blame Sky News.
Well, it's this story. So basically, inside the extraordinary attempt by the powerful taxpayer-funded news boss at ABC to kill off journalism critical of his organisation. ABC News director Justin Stevens has taken the extraordinary move to attempt to kill off journalism critical of his organisation in a letter to his media rivals. So let's just maybe play that clip of what it was, because that's what they're referring to. I'll find the short of it. So we just watch the short of the interaction. So it's all about my confronting of the journalist. I think I've got a short on there. Like it went pretty viral, so I'm sure that most people watching this have seen it. It's so frustrating that he...
Take your time, we got all day.
No, I don't. I need to eat. I'm starving. Let me see if did I post a copy of it in there? No, I don't think I posted a copy of it. Last thing I can see is you at the wall. Shorts. Okay. So this is just like a short version of it. Why is there no sound? Where's the bloody sound on these things? Bloody hell. Why can't I get sound on that? It's just like, I'm done. All right, anyway.
Describe the story to us.
I confronted the ABC journalist in Israel. You can go watch it on the proper video on my YouTube channel. And basically I said that, I confronted him and asked him if he feels any kind of responsibility for the conversation around the war here and the way that it, any responsibility for the anti-Semitism in Australia at the moment. Hold on. God damn it. Hold on. I can show you the actual video, not the short. Or watch a minute of it or whatever. Oh, that's why it wasn't giving us sound. Here, this is it. Now my internet's gonna crash out. That's where we're at now, guys.
You said Israel targeting hospital.
Hold on. This was it.
If you have a concern, please write a formal complaint to the ABC. I am not talking to you any further.
Do you understand why people want to defund the ABC? Why should my taxpayer dollars go to you?
You are just trying to catch me out here. You are trying to make a scene. I am trying to do actual journalism. So please...
Actual journalism? Is that what it's called when...
Why is my computer freaking out? Like I can't put it in full screen. This is so annoying.
Lie.
I give up.
Avi Amini in Hostage Square. Tell your head in shame for the way that you're for a lot of the hatred and division today. You're going to finally report Hamas as terrorists? Do you hold your head in shame for the way that you reported in the last 2 years? Much of the anti-Semitic hate in Australia has to do solely on your reporting. How does it feel? You're here on this historic day thanks to Trump.
Make sure you're balanced. ABC's been an absolute joke. Absolute joke.
How do you feel being here when...
Ridiculous.
Thank you, Trump.
Yeah, see you later.
How do you feel saying
It's a
that?
joke. As a taxpayer, investing in, we invest in these guys. They come here, they create a complete mockery of they just divide everyone. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Thank God he's going.
I gotta say, I just love how there was some random Aussie there that saw me. I can't hear you. You got your mic off.
Who was that random Aussie guy? Who was he?
Aussie. There was Aussies in there. He saw me chasing after the... I don't know. There was a few Aussies there. There was another one that I interviewed at the end.
No one wants him here. It's a joke.
Why are you running? Are you embarrassed about your reporting now 2 years later? Are you embarrassed about the way you've covered this conflict?
Stand by my reporting. Please, I'm trying to do my job here.
Is Hamas a terrorist organisation?
Yes, it is a prescribed terrorist organisation under Australian law. Thank you.
Yeah,
And I have said that in my reporting.
And do you think that...
I'm trying to do my job here, sir. Please, can you allow me to
do you take any any responsibility for the way that this conversation has been had in Australia over the last 2 years?
I stand by my reporting. Can you please let me do my job? Can you please?
Your job is detrimental to Australia.
Can you please let me do my job? I'm not speaking to you any further. Sorry.
You don't have to. All good. There you go. The ABC. Please leave me alone. He's the victim here. After 2 years of essentially demonising Israel. He's here at Hostage Square on the historic day that Trump locked in. Ironically, demonises Trump, demonises Trump.
אתה מדבר עברית?
אני מבין עברית, כן.
לא, אתה לא מדבר עברית, ואני אחראי כאן, ואתה מפריע לנו...
אכפת לי, אתה יודע מי זה? אתה יודע מה הוא עושה? אתה יודע מה הוא עושה ליהודים באוסטרליה? אתה מבין את זה? בגללו יש אנטיסמיטיזם באוסטרליה. זה שאתה עוזר לו, זה אתה. My Hebrew is a bit broken there, but I don't think even the people working around him understand what he is responsible. He's been the main reporter here in Israel that has demonized Israel for 2 years straight. And now on this historic day, he's here at Hostage Square pretending that he somehow is being balanced. The funny thing is he's also demonized Donald Trump, the man responsible for this peace deal today. Matthew,
leave him alone, man.
You
leave
say
him
you
alone.
stand by everything. You still stand by. Do you still stand by Israel targeting hospitals? You said Israel targeting hospitals, but you fueled the anti-Semitism. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. What you've done to Jews in Australia, you didn't leave us alone. You made Israel. You demonized Israel. You said that they were targeting hospitals, which is illegal under international law. You fueled the anti-Semitism in Australia. Do you want to apologise? Do you not think that the ABC should be defunded? You stand by reporting that Israel broke international law by targeting Hamas terrorists. You admitted they're terrorists.
Please leave me alone. I have said what I've said to you. Please leave me alone.
You should hold your head in shame, mate.
Please leave me
alone. Your head in shame.
Please leave me alone.
You are the reason. I just realised he also was pushing the starving journalist narrative. Matthew, one last question. The starving journalists, the starving people. You said everyone was starving. Have you not seen people in Gaza? So do you take back some of your reporting?
I stand by my reporting.
So they're starving in Gaza. Israel was starving the population, but you don't see anyone starving today there. You don't see anyone malnutrition there today in the footage that we're seeing come out of Gaza. They're celebrating. You also said that they were intentionally targeting hospitals, which was against international law. You stand by all that, which was fueling anti-Semitism in Israel. Really, can you say that while looking me in the eye?
Yes. I stand by my reporting, and I have told you that repeatedly.
I've given you 2 examples of complete and utter lies that you just told.
You are saying that they are lies. I stand by my reporting. If you have a concern, please write a formal complaint to the ABC. I am not talking to you any further.
Do you understand why people want to defund the ABC? Why should my taxpayer dollars go to you?
You are just trying to catch me out here. You are trying to make a scene. I am trying to do actual journalism. So please...
Actual journalism? Is that what it's called when you lie?
Please leave us alone.
Yeah. The truth about the war.com.
Okay, so that was the confrontation that that Sky News aired, and they're referring to in that article. Now, my computer is totally shut itself. So
Bugging out?
Yeah.
I mean, I just wanted to bring up a point because he is playing the victim there. But often when journalists from the ABC and others go after people...
That's exactly what they do.
They don't... you can't just say, please leave me alone. They'll keep coming at you. So it's a bit rich hearing it from an investigative journalist playing the whole victim card. I think he could have just engaged with you, given you a couple of words, in a honest manner. I'm not saying the way that he was doing it. He was kind of defensive from the very start, and even just giving a no comment interview. It's not a big deal.
My computer's like doing the better display is blurring some of the page.
No, turn off your portrait thing, man. Your portrait mode's on.
On which one?
Click on the green icon on the top on your toolbar.
I have a green icon.
On your the portrait mode on Ecamm thing.
very
Welcome, guys, to the Opposition Podcast, where it's been
I don't see that.
the green thing, bro. It's like a little camera. It's like a little camera on your on the top bar, and one of the options is portrait for your capture card.
I literally.
It's blurring it. The icons on the top, on the bar.
There is no green camera thing.
No, not a green, like any color, any kind of camera thing, like
There's
a little
no
camera.
camera.
Or a square.
Is it better
like
display? It's not better display.
No, it's not. It's not. I'll click on that thing. Yeah.
What?
Does it show you
The better
different?
Whatever. Just live with it. At the end of this show,
Just
you're
live
gonna
with
have
it
to show
today.
me how to fix it.
I'll show you it after.
Okay. So then ABC's director, Justin Stevens, has taken an extraordinary move to attempt to kill off journalism critical of his organisation. A letter to media rivals. Mr. Stevens, who received taxpayer-funded salary of more than $500,000 last year, in the last financial year, spent his time in his official role writing a lengthy letter attacking a critic of his organisation. In the letter to News Corp Australia Executive Chair Michael Miller, Sky News Australia CEO Paul Whitaker, and the editor Whitaker, and editor-in-chief of the Australian Michael Gunn, Mr. Stevens said that the recent journalism of Sky News host Chris Kenny has been a disgrace. Kenny had written in the Australian last week and spoke on Sky News about ABC correspondent Matthew Doran. Doran was the subject of video by Rebel News' Avi Yemini, who accosted the ABC journalist with brutal questions about his coverage, about the ABC's coverage of the war between Hamas and Israel. Even though Kenny was critical of Mr. Yemini, calling it unfair to Doran to hold him responsible for the ABC's coverage, Mr. Stevens wrote in his letter that referring to the video was publicly support what he called persistent harassment and abuse of Mr. Doran, and sharing the video was a low point. A low point, chasing someone with a camera. A low point, chasing someone with a camera and asking questions. Mr. Kenny said, care to tell us how often the ABC has done that? Is this the new tactic for only which journalists are protected? Give us a break. Mrs. Stevens' letter claimed that the ABC's Middle East team deliver important journalism with courage, dedication, and integrity. No impartial observer could be anything but positive about Mr. Doran's work. Kenny called this a futile. What is that word? I don't even know. Whatever. Assertion that addressed none of the substance of his criticism and said it shows Stevens as the ABC and the ABC are in denial. This is not about Doran and the Middle Eastern team, and Stephen knows it. This is about the ABC reporters, producers and presenters back in Australia too, and especially about the senior editorial team like Stephen. As I said on air and in the paper, Kenny said that the letter his bosses received then went for some cheap shots. Stephen said my claim about the ABC was chased out of the hostage square is factually wrong. The team moved to get data reception, something I wouldn't have experienced in Sydney. He said how pathetic and wrong. The funny thing is in Israel you have better connection, and he was not getting connection anywhere in Hostage Square, and where he went had no connection. He did run away at first, but then he kind of made a spot. Like he found a spot. That's when I went back to him. I was like, oh, he's come back. My column, anyway. The point here being, I wish I could just show you their video, which is really weird that they don't show.
Have it embedded.
How do they not have? Because Kenny did it actually pretty well. It's better than reading this crap. Whoever written this article, it's a bit like all over the joint. But the point is, after they aired it, the Justin Stevens, so the ABC News director, sent a letter, and then ABC passed those details also onto the Guardian, and Guardian did this whole hit piece on me. And Avi Yemini, who was convicted in 2019 for throwing a chopping board, and like saying like a retarded article again, and it's got nothing to do with the substance of it. Now, since then, so you know, I filed an FOI to ABC to find out all the communications between them, and I've got other things in the works there, to find out what's really going on and to essentially hold them accountable, because at the end of the day, their reporting has been shocking the entire conflict. And that guy specifically, and in my report, so Chris Kenny likes to say he's, you know, like his report was pretty good, and I think this was a bit, but he does, like, he's one of those people that has to preface it with, I don't support everything RV does. Well, mate, I don't support everything Sky News does.
Yeah.
So there, we're equal. But I don't know why you feel the need to have to say that every time. But cool.
Yeah.
He said it. But at the end of the day, he says the one unfair thing is that I blame everything on Doran. I don't. In the video, I say, I literally end it with, people like Doran and journalists like him are the reasons for the narrative in Australia being the prevailing narrative, and the fueling of the Jew hatred is because of these people. It's because the mainstream media has, and very much the ABC has pushed it. And today is the perfect example, right? So this was So essentially, this was the IDF footage that was released yesterday and has since been accepted by Qatar, no friend of Israel, who is
and the Red Cross
rejected, has condemned Hamas for it, and the Red Cross, who is no friend of Israel. So everyone's basically saying that this is true and this is
Hamas are lying about our hostages, and we have proof. Right now, you are watching drone footage showing Hamas terrorists throwing the remains of a deceased hostage from a building in Gaza and burying it into a pit they prepared and dug, setting it up for it to be later found by the Red Cross. Once the Red Cross arrived, a tractor dug up the body that Hamas had already purposely hidden and pretended to find. Hamas knows exactly where the bodies of our hostages are being held, and this is exposing evidence that they are violating the ceasefire by sabotaging the attempts to retrieve the bodies. 13 deceased hostages are still in captivity in Gaza. Hamas is the reason why.
Okay, and so following that kind of story breaking right today, this is and also after they've crossed the yellow line and attacked a bunch of soldiers are being killed. This was his report today, this same victim.
It was the deadliest day in Gaza since the fragile truce was announced almost 3 weeks ago. Hospitals up and down the strip inundated with the dead and the injured. Palestinian health authorities say more than 100 people were killed as a result of the strikes, which rocked Gaza through the evening and into the morning. Benjamin Netanyahu ordering the attacks in response to claimed violations of the ceasefire by Hamas, namely fighters opening fire on troops in southern Gaza, with one soldier killed. The US president was quick to argue the ceasefire wasn't in jeopardy.
And that's also been accepted by Qatar. Who condemned Hamas for breaching the ceasefire. So this is not just Israel alleging. And by the time this is published, he knows this because it's public already.
Yeah.
Qatar, by the time this is on the hourly news, this I watched an hour ago being aired.
Despite those attacks. And News Today, Mr. Netanyahu told him they were coming.
The Prime Minister made the decision with the IDF and then informed President Trump before the action was taken. It was a decision wholly made by the Prime Minister, although he gave the Americans a heads up before it took place.
Now, the Israeli government spokesperson bristled at a question about how people can insist that the ceasefire is holding when Israel continues to launch attacks. Hamas itself has accused the IDF of breaching the deal more than 100 times. It is a valid question, particularly considering that more than 100 Palestinians have paid the ultimate price as a result of these latest attacks. But it really goes to how this ceasefire has been crafted, the leeway Israel has been given to attack claimed terrorist targets when it perceives there to be a threat, all with the approval of the White House and under the watchful gaze of the US military, with a new command centre set up around 40 kilometres away from the Gaza border. We were in Gaza yesterday just before these strikes began, and a senior Israeli military official said that US supervision hadn't really had much of an impact on how Israel is going about its efforts inside Gaza. There are also comparisons to be drawn here with the ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon, with Israel accused of breaching that ceasefire hundreds of times over the course of the last 11 months. That's not to dismiss Israel's claims of Hamas violations, particularly with video.
So this is his side note now of the breaches that
Asterisk at the end.
everybody's acceptance. You see his entire framing is Israel keeps breaching these ceasefires. Israel's breaching. Everyone, there's 100 dead because Israel's breaching. Oh yeah, they say that Hamas may have killed a few people. No mention of the fact that Qatar, Hamas's own sponsors, are condemning Hamas for breaching it by doing those shootings, by doing this, but even like just the direct violence, the breaching of the yellow line and engaging soldiers. Like, what do you want Israel to do in response? His framing has been the entire war like this.
Like this, released by the Israeli military, claiming to show Hamas members staging the discovery of human remains during searches for dead Israeli hostages. The Red Cross, which acts as the intermediary between Hamas and Israel on exchanges, has hit out at the incident, saying it was unacceptable. A fake recovery was staged. It all goes to show that...
Even there, it's like the Red Cross that hates Israel is telling... And you're still framing it of Israel just claims that there was a breach in the thinger. So
it's very obvious what he's doing.
Yeah, and like anytime he references Israel's alleged breaches, he says Israel has breached point blank all these times by doing all like hundreds of times by doing all these things. And they claim that Hamas has breached. Do you understand what that does to the viewer in Australia who just doesn't understand the conflict and the way that they perceive it? Israel just doesn't care about the rule of law. These poor terrorists who might be doing maybe like Israel claims they're breaching. Do you trust Israel who's been bombing everyone? That's the way that's been his coverage the whole 2 years, which is fueling the Jew hatred here. And look at his smug face when he does it.
Claims that peace had descended on Gaza in recent weeks were dangerously premature. And even with a relative calm now returning to the Strip, that situation can change at a moment's notice.
I think like there's this whole thing with these left-wing news organizations, even the ABC, they want Trump to be wrong.
Yeah.
Obviously, they vilify Israel at any turn they get. They take things from the Hamas Ministry of Health of all places as gospel, and they report it as such. And like you said, they ignore, not even, let's just forget about Israel. I can understand maybe why they dismiss Israel giving their opinion on this. But like you said, Qatar, where the Hamas terrorist leadership is hiding out, have themselves come out and rebuked Hamas and said that, why did you break the ceasefire? Why are you doing these attacks? You have to disarm. So if you just the fact that Qatar said that, I think that's a very important point for the ABC
and it's
to
not
mention.
Even in, that wasn't even in his report.
Wasn't even mentioned. That is a very important point to mention because they're the preeminent Middle Eastern partner in this conflict with the Americans. So that means a lot to the story.
Exactly.
And there's no reason not to mention it.
Lying through omission.
Yeah,
it's lying through framing. It's creating, when you tell one side of it, you're giving it heaps of weight. When you're telling the other part of it, you're adding question to it. And the viewer who doesn't understand watches that, and when you drill this kind of reporting for 2 years, obviously you're going to see Israel as the evil ones. Obviously. The average person, when you just watch that every night, you can't help after 2 years and think, gosh, won't Israel just stop?
Yeah.
And that's why I confronted him. And he deserves to be confronted. And I would confront him again. And for the ABC to then go and complain to Sky News and demanded an apology.
and then feed the story to The Guardian is beyond inappropriate.
Yep.
They are the story here.
Of course.
Their reporting is the story. And guess what?
And it's a common ABC tactic. I mean, we're seeing it in this war context, but they do this at home, guys. They do this in Australia for many stories. They do this. They lie by omission. They try to deceive the Australian public. They obviously have an agenda. They're very biased towards a left-leaning agenda. And they perpetrate this type of, misinformation, disinformation on purpose, many a times on the Australian public. We're just seeing, because obviously RV managed to confront one of their journalists. I think even the ones here need to be confronted, really, and ask these type of questions, because they've been getting away with it for decades now. So I think it's great what you did, RV, and just holding him to account. And you saw how much it impacted them by the fact that they're writing letters to Sky News and The Guardian.
Yeah. And I just
Like,
it's so funny how
they think there's like some sort of bro code, like a bro code between journalists where you kind of, we don't question each other, but obviously they always question Sky News. They question the right. They can question.
No, they
journalists.
thought they could shame. I think they thought they could shame or like he used the word bullying, and I would think that's a fair, framing of it. Hey Siri,
What happened?
turn radio off. I'm gonna have to reset this.
I have a feeling that while you were away, the Qataris got into your studio.
I feel like that's.
And I think you've been bugged by Qatar, and Carlson and Candace Owens is listening.
I'm gonna have to
right
reset
now.
everything. I'm gonna have to reset this.
You're gonna have to do a bug sweep.
You're
gonna have to get a bug sweeper.
Anyways, the point is, watch this space. I'm not gonna let it go. In fact, you want to talk about ABC journalism? Let's quickly hit this story before I go to the super chats. Friendly Geordies on hiatus after ABC journos alleged text leak. Did you see this story? The YouTuber
No, I haven't seen this.
claims in a video after alleged text purported and Zal. The ABC said this month that it was investigating Fazal's participation in the Word on the Street podcast with independent crime scribe Ryan Nanmeko before the pair spectacularly fell out. Mr. Numenko has made a series of unsubstantiated claims against Fazal, a reformed bikie. I didn't even know he was a reformed bikie, including that he asked to be paid in cash for his work on the podcast. On Sunday, the Sydney Morning Herald published text purported to have been sent between the pair in which Fazal allegedly called Shanks a rat. Kind of agree with that one. Friendly Geordies and his this is reading the alleged text. Friendly Geordies and his people, their dogs. I want to kill him so bad. One text allegedly read. News.com.au has contacted Fazal and his legal team for comment. In a statement to the Herald, he reportedly said, "You have put fabricated messages to me and select messages out of context. I deny any wrongdoing." Mr. Numenko has revealed he cannot talk about the subject for the time being due to a court order. The Herald reported Fazal has made a statement to police. It comes after Shank published a video titled "They Tried to Kill Me," covering the news. An associate of the Alameddine crime family has been jailed over the 2022 firebombing of his Bondi home. That was all pretty hectic. During the October 1 video, Shanks made a reference to the Alameddine giving access to certain ABC journalists and showed a screenshot of one of Fazal's stories. A spokesman for Fazal's employer said on Tuesday the ABC is investigating the matter and is not able to make any further comment. On Monday, Shanks spoke extensively in another video on the alleged police failings in investigating the firebombing and said the text reported in the Herald were really scaring me. There is no suggestion that Fazal was involved in the attack on Shanks' home. No charges have been laid. In the latest video, which gained 500,000 views, Shanks took aim at the ABC and accused Fazal of giving him favourable coverage to the organised crime figures in his stories. He makes guarding Australia and Women Weekly style interviews for crims. That's kind of true. If you saw his story on the crime boss in Turkey. I can't believe he was a Mongol's bikie. He's like a fat wreck. He looks like the biggest, he's not a scary kind of guy. Former Mongols bikie Vincent spoke about how he sourced some of his stories during the second Word on the Street episode, which Numenko has said would be the last ABC reporter would feature in. Fazal said growing up around criminality showed him sides of life that most people did not get to see. Very quickly I understood that the bread and butter of journalism was access, he said in the YouTube video. How are you going to get access to these worlds? I think I'm persistent to the point where sometimes I think I'm delusional or manic. So many times people have said to me, you're not going to get that story, and it just fires me up to the point I keep going. The award-winning journalist has said he gained access. I'm going mad. Gained access through reporting Australian Drew Raps. Anyways, this is a wild story, and
it's crazy.
And the continuation to the story is now the other guy.
Didn't someone get bashed?
Is that the mother of him got bashed?
Yeah, someone got bashed. Yeah, the mum. What are you hearing? What's going on?
I'm hearing stuff. I think I'm going mad.
Are you all right?
No, I'm not. Okay. Anyways, so watch your space. I think the ABC's in a bunch of trouble for a bunch of different reasons.
Yeah, but that actually shows you that. I mean, that was the ABG journalist, so that's a legitimate journalist. You should be able to door stomp and interview, right?
No,
because he's walking somewhere.
It's sensitive. You can't
do
that. You can't do that.
I think we should call it a night, Avi.
Yeah, I reckon I'm going mad. There's a couple of other local stories I want to hit, but
bring up the super chats. Actually, we should do the super chats.
Yeah, we'll do all the super chats.
Let's do all the super chats.
Sorry about tonight, guys. Things are happening here tonight, and Rukshan, you got to do some technical support. You need to come here and fix all the glitches. Like that bloody thing's attacking me, and this bloody thing's attacking me. Bloody hell. Average bug second chat. Yep. Go, you want to read it?
I'll read it just in case you're hearing stuff. Yeah. I love how you made him look so stupid. That's referring to the ABC journalist. I don't think your intention was to make him look stupid, but obviously he made himself look stupid.
Listen, I'm going to say I was triggered when I saw him because it was Hostage Square. It was on this special date that the hostages were being released, and this was Donald Trump's big deal. And this is, Donald Trump that this guy spent years demonizing. This is Israel. These are the hostages that would still be in there if this guy's journalism actually got what he tried to achieve. He's not a impartial journalist, and he should be held accountable. Hey, give me a second.
Unplug Siri.
Unplugging it. Yeah, now you try. Siri. Yeah, that's what I thought. Fuck. I'm a man. My radio does not go without me. Okay, thanks for that super chat. Anyways, I don't know if you were hearing the sound from it, but
no,
weren't you? You weren't hearing the radio?
I think you got something wrong with your mind, bro.
It was on.
No one can hear the sound. No one can hear it. This is from Juliana Campbell. Yay, Avi's home. Thanks, Rook, for filling the gap. No worries. I did continue to do my shows while you weren't here, Avi, and I had a few of your people join into my show and asking when Avi's coming back. And this is the end result, guys. When Avi comes back, you can see it's all over the place, and he's hearing things. He's gone insane.
Listen,
we should permanently send him to Israel.
You hang around Tommy for 2 weeks in Israel, you'll go mad too.
Fair enough. Fair call. This is from Average Buck Second Channel. Bro, you cooked that donk. We'll take that as a statement. You did cook him. You cooked him a few times. You saw him and you kept going back for more.
That's what they were complaining about, I think.
Lucas Ramirez says, once pro-Hamas protests die off, what do you think is going to be the next trendy thing the left is going to protest about next? If you had to guess, my thought would be, with the midterms coming up in the US, it'll be something US related, something to do with Trump. That's kind of what I see, because I feel like the Democrats need some type of issue in the US to protest leading up to the midterms. What do you reckon?
Am I going to take a guess that's going to be taken on now? What can it be? Like, are they going to go back and recycle the old issues? Like either climate change, immigration. I don't know. Maybe.
I think it'll be something Trump related.
Yeah, maybe. I'm seriously hearing stuff. I'm sorry. I'm just. Let's just get through these. Average Bug second channel from Average Bug second channel. Yuck.
How can he show his face in Israel? Yeah.
Yep, I agree. Daniel Jones says, did you see Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes podcast? Is this Daniel Jones? If it is, g'day Daniel Jones. If it's not, g'day Daniel Jones. In the podcast, Tucker actually said OnlyFans is more of a threat than Iran. Tucker is an idiot. I don't think Tucker is an idiot. I think Tucker is a deceptive, dangerous propagandist, and that's what he's become. And I think he's more dangerous than Candace. Like Candace, everybody sees has gone nutty. Tucker, for some reason, a lot of people are still fooled by him. What's your take?
I watched it. Look, again, it's fine if they talk to each other, whatever. Anyone can interview whoever they want to do, but obviously you're going to get judged on it, and I think he's been judged on it, and it's very obvious that Tucker's gone a certain way with his interviews, and the difference between how he interviewed Ted Cruz and Nick Fuentes is very obvious. One is very adversarial, and the other one is more so glazing, for lack of a better word, at times. But we've already seen some consequences as well, Avi. I think the Heritage Foundation has dropped Tucker. So some institutional US Republicans are wanting to distance themselves because it's not a good look.
He'll blame it on those.
He'll blame it on, of course. And the thing here we have to see is that it's not really about not giving Nick Fuentes a platform or anything. It's the things that Nick Fuentes says, regardless of what you think of him, he said some pretty out there, things.
And not challenged.
Some un-American things, obviously a lot of racial things, and people support his views on those, whatever, right? The Gropers, his little crew, whatever. At the end of the day, the conservative movement stands for something, and much of what Nick Fuentes has, even comments he's made about Charlie Kirk and his wife, supposed friends of Tucker Carlson, like, if you're interviewing someone like this, it goes to their character, and not to bring up any of those things.
No,
and,
you can interview him. You can interview him and push back.
Interview him, push back. You have him on the chair.
He went way harder on Ted Cruz than a guy sitting there telling him he loves Stalin and and the things that he says about his friend Charlie Kirk. Like it is so, and like he has mainstreamed Nick Fuentes to a degree, to more of a degree. Look, it's scary in which direction they're going. I'm still here. All right. Are you able to touch the Hamas supporters carrying machetes and hurting innocent man in Melbourne? Thanks. Are you able? No, that would be.
Oh, was there? There was something. There was. We just saw that. That just came out of the news. I don't.
There was two 13-year-olds with a machete that stabbed. They look like Arabs, but who knows? What are we calling them Hamas supporters just because they're Arabs? Is that where we're going?
Oh, okay. I don't know the full context.
I don't know if there was more context to that. But thanks for the super chat, Wolfie. I did see that footage today. It was pretty horrific. 13-year-olds attacking a couple with machete just outside
a restaurant.
Mm.
I don't know where I'm hearing something.
What are you hearing?
Must be on my computer.
Is there something playing?
Must be. Hold on, turn off. It's doing my head in. Whatever it is, it's doing my head in.
Next super chat.
I can't. I'm going mad.
Someone told me not to read the super chat, so you read them, Avi. I don't know what's going on.
Beam me up, Scotty says, what a scumbag. That's journalism. ABC equals joke. I will take that as a comment, and I tend to have a bit of agreement with that. Baz, the Dark Horse says, defunded the ABC. Defund the ABC, I think is what you're trying to say, Baz. But yeah, I totally agree. I don't think we should have to pay for it. Britt says nothing. Britt just gave us a super chat. Thank you, Britt. Really appreciate the support. Appreciate all the super chats. You guys make it possible. Average Bug Second Channel says a sticking. How do you describe that emoji? Thanks for the super chat. Another super chat. Paul says ABC is a socialist commie network. Avi and Rukshan, thank you for your reporting.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. I got bloody hay fever too.
Right, we'll take that as a statement of fact. A very true statement.
Yep, 2 thumbs up you got for that one. Thank you for the support. Harry says, thank you for the super chat. Says, Candace Owens acts like her and Charlie Kirk were friends forever. The thing is, Candace Owens and Kirk used to be friends. After October 7th, I never saw them talk to each other. Now she won't shut up about Kirk. You agree, Avi? I agree that, look, I think Charlie Kirk was a guy that held on to friendships. He did not share her view on Israel, even when he was slightly critical of Israel. He was always a strong supporter of Israel. And, you know, when you look at somebody also like Tucker Carlson, who this week was saying, you know, in that same interview, condemning Christian Zionists in the strongest terms possible. Like, I can't remember his wording, but it was pretty, you know,
he said that's the group that he hates the most in the world is Christian Zionists.
More than leftists, more than communists, anything. More than anything, more than Islamists. Charlie Kirk was that. His supposed friend. Both he and Tucker and Candace Owens are vile people, vile. And they're using, they're either using or abusing the memory of their supposed friend. And
Yep.
Look, I think Tucker's relationship with Kirk was very different than Candace. I think Candace, they were like equal friends, and then he just didn't share her political view. Just thought she was a bit quirky, probably. You know, thought she was wrong and quirky. Where the truth is, she's a bloody nut.
Yep.
But with what's his name, with Tucker, I feel like Tucker was his senior guy, a much more senior guy in this industry. He looked up to him. A lot of people in this industry did, and he couldn't kind of let go of. He couldn't separate himself from that dynamic. It's kind of like a power dynamic. I'm just like guessing from watching it from the outside, because it feels like Tucker had something more over him, which wasn't like a real thing. It was just like a thing in his head.
Yeah.
And I also like, I don't know if Charlie Kirk's like instinct on characters is very good. Like, it may not be great, and he may not have, at the point he was,
I think it's more so he's not a guy that wanted to burn bridges. He always
didn't want to burn bridges. No,
he didn't want to burn bridges, and he kept lines of communication open, and he could see that, you know, in this space, how many times do we see people go at each other and they come around and they find some sort of unifying.
No, he definitely was a guy that didn't burn bridges, didn't want to fight, kept people close, and to a fault, like to a degree where I think that personally, at some point, if you're willing to call the left out for some of their vile stuff, you should be able to call out your friends for the vile stuff. If not, at least in private, you know, you saw what's his name? D'Souza, what's his name?
Dinesh, yes.
You see him release just that little part of the text where he condemned Dinesh, so a friend of his, for having Nick on. And by the way, I encourage people to watch Dinesh versus Fuentes, because Dinesh just annihilates him, and he condemned him just for having him on, saying he's boosted. Imagine what he would say about Fuentes being actually elevated by Tucker Carlson now, with zero pushback. Dinesh pushed back on everything and actually destroyed him. Anyways, Harry says, also, Avi, great to have you back. Glad you're back. Thank you, Harry. I'm looking forward to getting back into it here in Australia. I'm planning on hitting the streets, so watch your space. Harry says, how did Tucker go from being pro-war when the US was invaded Iraq in 2003 and now being anti-war, anti-West when it comes to Israel and Gaza 2023 onwards? You know what? These guys all use the same little trick where because look at Candace and her journey as well. She started off by being this leftist that literally started a doxing website. So like this extreme leftist, and then progressively moved, and then now has ended up all the way on the right, but to the point where she's meeting with her same lefty that was there. In fact, they're closest friends now. Like, they're all sharing each other's stuff, are these people on the far left and the far right. So it is a horseshoe theory, but they all have that kind of thing. So how do you ever trust? Like, I can understand if somebody on one issue has progressed their view and, you know, has matured and learnt and studied and kind of shaped a different and come to a different conclusion over time. That I get. But if everything you've ever thought keeps shifting, and when it shifts, you then use the fact that it shifted as, no, I'm actually somebody that's so open to learning and educating and saying I was wrong that you should believe it. Why should I believe Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson now when they've shifted so many times? And without anything really changing, without their education changing. If you listen to these people, both of them, both Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, making the arguments for Israel, they were using all the same talking points that pro-Israel use now against people like them then. And they were so they knew the counter arguments. It's not like they got new information. It's just that they've shifted because they're because they don't believe in anything. They believe on internet clout and money, whatever.
It's all audience capture. I mean, a lot of people bring up, oh, look how many people are watching Candace live. There's like 140,000 people tuned in. And Dinesh said a great thing. He put up a great tweet and he said, it's like when you're driving past a car wreck or an accident, everyone turns their head. A lot of people join in to watch Jerry Springer. And I've seen this phenomenon of people saying, oh, Candace is on, you know, we're going to finally find out what happened to Charlie tonight, like another tidbit. And literally, she is pretty much dancing on the grave of her friend.
Yeah.
Obviously, she can speculate as much as she likes as a podcaster, and she can share certain things in all text messages. And yes, it adds to some sort of context to the life of Charlie Kirk and the relationship and his views and thoughts. But it doesn't really go towards understanding what happened exactly on that rooftop or when he was murdered and what happened with that whole thing. Like, she is not, you know, she plays this kind of detective, and it's just not the same, guys. Like, as much as you want to believe it because of how screwed, you know, the world is with, we can't have faith in authorities. I get that. I understand that. But it's just not the same. She's not an FBI operative. She's not a CIA operative.
She just makes shit up.
She's not law enforcement. She has no, whatever she says, there's no repercussions to whatever she says. Now, there's definitely repercussions to what the police say. It impacts the trial. There's repercussions to what law enforcement doesn't say. and how they treat people who are in custody or, awaiting trial, there's repercussions to what they say and do. So she has none of those things. So she just goes off. She's blamed like at least 20, 30 people now for being involved in some plot. She's accused the wife as well in ways. She's accused the Trump administration. Today she was accusing or making suggestions about the Trump family themselves, the rest of the kids. Why are they not, doing enough for Charlie and so on. And again, it's all just theater, and we're going to find out what we're going to find out when we do. People can dig into it as much as they like, but until we get that information and until we see that trial, I think after that comes out, then yes, there's an opportunity there to investigate the veracity of those things. Right now, everything's just in the air. It's just like
I'm not so worried about Candace Owens because she is her worst enemy. She makes stuff up. She ties the most loose pieces of information out of context. She'll cut any context that doesn't suit her story. We see her keep doing that, and it's going to come back and bite her. So whether it's the Charlie Kirk stuff, whether it's the Bridget Macron, yesterday the Bridget Macron case in France ended, where the two people making the same claims as Candace, in fact, I think it's the people she got it off, if I'm not wrong. I might be mistaken about that. I'm pretty sure it's the two journalists she got it from. They're facing 2 years jail now.
Yeah.
If they're found guilty of, and Macron's lawyers are saying they're going to provide scientific evidence. Like, if I think that she's her worst enemy and she's going to screw herself. I'm not so worried about her, and I do agree a lot of people watch it for a train wreck. But I also think that there are a lot of people that want to believe the nonsense she's saying, which is audience capture. It's easy. If I keep telling you what you want to hear and I dress it up as like, I've got all the evidence and the facts for it, there's a lot of people going to tune in, especially if every second episode you're hating on Jews. It's Israel. It's easy.
It's like a TV series. Like I see people's comments on it. They're like, it's like the next episode for them. So they're hanging for it. So she leaves them hanging, and they're like, oh, what's... And then people use those same talking points in the comments on X or on Facebook, wherever. And it's just something that Candace has said off the cuff. What she's feeling right now. I'm feeling this. Guys, I'm feeling this right now. What are you going to do? What are you guys going to do? I'm going to fight everyone. She talks in this way that obviously she's a very good shock jock. I saw some of the comments that people are saying, and she's very good at what she does. I'm not... She's very good at what she does, just like a Nick Fuentes, who's good at what he does, like a Alex Jones. They're good at what they do. Candace reminds me of really the new age Alex Jones. She is going to be right about some things when this trial happens, because she said almost everything. She's put out everything. So she'll definitely be able to find clips of her saying things that match up with what happens in this trial, because she's just put it all out there. It's the bits that she gets wrong that people really have to pay attention to. And there's been many things that she's been wrong on, and that's why she keeps moving the goalposts every time that she does an episode.
Yep. Abby says, hi guys, just reassuring you, I haven't gone to the dark side. Oh, thank God, we haven't seen you, Abby. G'day. Avi, something sounds like kids in the background. Love that show. The show's back on. Always miss you. Maybe it's in your place. Is there background noise in your house?
I don't know. Is there? I can't hear anything.
It might be your house because I only share it.
I might be messing with you for Halloween. I don't know.
Paul Murray says, G&G opening day North 6 North Corner Stud Heatherton. G&G. What's G&G?
Is it a restaurant or something?
Yeah. All right. So G&G. Yeah, I guess you can promote your restaurant.
G&G. I know what he's talking about. What's that Mexican place?
Gomez. Opening
there's a new one that opened in Dandenong. I drive past it sometimes.
Danny North, 6th of November, corner of
they have a massive one opening there, bro. It's like a drive-through and everything. So if you like
Paul must be excited.
Paul's excited.
Good on you, Paul.
Why is he promoting it? Is that your franchise, mate?
My kids like it. Abby King says, I'm absolutely hearing that too. Thank you, Abby. I'm not going
Abby's a bit cooked as well, so maybe that's why she's got some issues like you, mate.
Abby, remember who called you cooked and who's on your side. Equity, I thought Rook was having Avi Loeb on tonight. Who's Avi Loeb?
I think he's saying that he thought I was having you as a guest because we haven't done this for so long.
Oh.
Can you hear stuff again?
No. I get to see stuff now. It's escalating. Lisa says, Lisa, good to see you. So good to see you both live here with us. Thanks for all your hard work. Appreciate your support, Lisa, as usual. Good to see good to see a lot of the regulars here tonight. Adrian says, Avi, I heard you say befire. What is befire? That
Before.
I'm thinking, is that a word? I don't know. Avi, I heard you say before that you're right, not far right. What differs you from someone that is far right? Is it abortion or what exactly is it? No, to me, I think far right are the guys, and I know this is a point of contention, but the people on the far right are, they just hate Jews. They're kind of Hitler lovers. I know that some people argue that that should be the far left. Like I said, it's the horseshoe theory. They almost meet at the point. National socialists, those guys are far right to me. People that are genuinely racist and hate everyone, they're far right. A good way to check is if they just hate me for being Jewish. That's probably a good indicator. Hope that helps explain it. Average Bugs second channel says, I love how Tommy trolled you in the car on the way home. Bro, I had 3 weeks of being trolled. Straight up. And every time, he leaves me videos, he's like, Avi is a wank. How does he do it?
Avi's a wanker.
Avi Yemeni is his name, is my whole name.
Yeah, he says Avi Yemeni.
And he says he's going to get the whole crowds to chant it. He's going to do it, 100%. He's going to do it. At the next rally, the big one in London, you're going to have 1 million people chanting Avi Yemeni's a wanker. And I'm actually excited. Yes. Thanks for the super chat. That's how much of an attention seeker I am. I am excited. I am looking forward to the day that 1 million people chanting Avi Yemeni's a wanker.
You'll take anything.
I'll take anything. Abby King says, standing with Israel doesn't mean you have to agree with every decision their government makes. Charlie loved Israel but understood we live in a flawed and fallen world. Exactly. I'll take that as a comment, and a good comment because it's so true. Final super chat is my guy. Avi was, hey Avi, wondering if Tommy talked about or mentioned anything about Andrew Tate with you, since Tommy and Andrew Tate were childhood friends. Look, I've spoken to Tommy many times about Andrew Tate. I know how he feels about Andrew Tate. And I know that he has, and this kind of goes both ways with him, to be honest. I'm no fan of Andrew Tate. I make that totally clear to Tommy that I think Andrew Tate is scum. Tommy knows him because they both grew up together in Luton. He believes that... So Andrew Tate's like one of the boys that he remembers as a kid. He knows that Andrew Tate's not really a Muslim, wouldn't know anything about Islam. If you question him, anything about his conversion, he doesn't know. Oh no, I thought you froze. I'm just imagining. But, and he's tried to organise many times debates with Andrew Tate on his conversion to Islam. Andrew Tate has agreed, but then never does it because Andrew Tate knows he will get wrecked. Say what you want about Tommy Robinson. He knows a lot about Islam. You even watched, did you watch that interaction with that imam that he had in Jerusalem?
He's been sacked.
Yeah, the imam's been sacked for belief. The imam has been sacked for saying that, one, he condemned Hamas and that he thinks Israel and Palestine should have the right to exist together. And you understand, he's been sacked from the so-called moderate Islamic mosque. That's where we're at. And that's what goes back to the discussion that we had before. Like, it's a different mentality. And even those that are so-called moderate from within their community are not going to rein in their extremists, especially as they attract the numbers, as they have numbers in Australia. But anyways, so
even with him, like a moment that I watched is where the Imam quoted a passage from the Quran, and Tommy was like, no, don't stop there. Continue going. What does it say after that? He knew off the top of the head the quote. And then he kind of trapped the Imam into a position that was very awkward in proving that what he was saying was hateful to non-Muslims. The point being is Andrew Tate, he knows Andrew Tate's a fake Muslim. He just thinks he's one of the boys. He doesn't believe a lot of the allegations against Andrew Tate. He doesn't believe that he's a child. What's it called? What do they call?
Like a child predator or a molester?
No. That he traffics women.
Sex trafficker.
Sex trafficker, or that he. The point is that's all going to play out in court. I think like when somebody has one allegation by one woman, one situation, like in my case, even like my ex-wife. And I have a whole, I tell it in my book, rebelfromthestart.com. I talk about exactly what that was. Like I can even personally, my brain is fried tonight. Like I can relate to it, so I can understand. But once you start having like dozens of women, but I get it's got to play out in the court. But the court in itself also is not for me the be all and end all. Like if somebody has one situation in court, fine. Like there can be context, like in my personal situation, where it's not true, and I just pled guilty to a crime, so I get access to my kids. But in Andrew Tate's case, it's not that. There's so many people, and when you read the court documents, it's pretty damning. And when you watch his own content, it's incriminating against himself. So, like, Andrew Tate's not a good dude. I don't think it's a good dude. But Tommy Robin has a soft spot for this other street kid from Luton who, in Andrew Tate's defense, he has it back to Tommy. And Andrew Tate, that's the one, like, you know, he threw Jews under the bus. He throws the West under the bus. He throws everything under the bus for his, like, radical Islam, whatever. But he won't throw Tommy Robinson under the bus, and that did cost him a bit of that. That was the first part of his downfall within the Islamic community. Now it's going to be like whether he becomes an apostate, because he'll quickly find out that converting to Islam for clout,
there's a penalty.
There's a price to pay. And, you know, he's gone on about why he loves Islam so much. One of the main reasons is because they're so strong and solid in their faith. Well, you're about to find out, brother. On that note,
I think it's time for you to have a good rest and a good sleep.
Hopefully I can get over this jet lag over the weekend. Guys, make sure to like, comment to help the algorithm, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, hit the notification bells, and we will see you back on Tuesday here, although I'm probably doing a live stream out on the street on Sunday, so make sure to tune in. Do you want to come to a rally?
Let's see.
Oh, Rookshans.
I gotta go to church.
Rook, mate, you gotta pray for the both.
I gotta go to church, and I gotta talk about Isaiah 53. All right, guys.
Isaiah 53. Let's talk about it, boys.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
See you next time.